What's up, guys? Thank y'all for joining us tonight for episode 15, big 15 going of Irregular Republic. I got a great guest on tonight. I got Cory from the Goat Initiative. I'm super excited about it, and let's bring him up here so we can say what's up. What's up, Cory, man? How you doing, bro?
What's up, man? I was hoping you were going to say 16, so I could be your quinceañera episode.
It's all we were almost there, bro. Almost, but yeah. We'll do another one later on. We'll do like 50 or something. That way we'll make it something big.
Well, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to explain what we've done and where we are and what the future looks like for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, I'm excited about it. Before we get going, everybody please like, share all the different things. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, Rumble, follow all the stuff. We're on X, Rumble, Instagram, and YouTube right now. So any of them would help, but just please do that for me before we get going. But I think to kick it all off, let's get a little background about you, Cory, and the Goat Initiative, and kind of what you do and all the fun stuff, and then we'll just jump right in from there and start talking about it.
So I live in San Diego County, eastern San Diego. I was born and raised here, and I left to go to college. That didn't work out too well, so I joined the Army, became a crew chief, UH-60 crew chief door gunner, and did that for a few years, then got out, came back here, used the GI Bill, became a respiratory therapist, and I got married. My wife and I bought a house kind of in town and had a baby, and the homeless problem was just kind of insane. So we said, let's go move further out with some land, and we can do whatever we want. In between there, I opened a small gun store named FU California, Firearms Unlimited California. And so we moved out, further out, about 45 minutes outside of town, right into the immigration invasion. So I left to get away from the homeless people, right into the homeless people from other countries. It was great.
I don't know which one's worse, honestly.
That's a good point. Probably the 10 million people. That's probably worse for the country.
Yeah. Oh, definitely worse for the country. But cool, man. Well, and then you started the Goat Initiative, and to kind of give us a once over the world of what that is and how you're working every day for doing border security and helping with that kind of stuff.
So right when we moved out here, my wife and I were sitting on the couch, and she said, "Hey, on the neighborhood Facebook page, it says there's a large group of Chinese people walking down the freeway." What does that even mean? There's not really a large Chinese population where I live. So I go, okay. And then she said, "No, look, there's a picture." So I hopped in the truck, drove 2 minutes up the road, and there were probably 50 Chinese people walking down the freeway with their bags. Not like they had just come through the desert. It looked like they had got off of a tour bus, or they just got off of an airplane. Like, this is weird, right? Mm-hmm. So Border Patrol pulls up, and he looks at me, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. This looks like your purview here. I'm not sure." So we were at that point. I was like, this is just something's weird, right? So a few days goes by. I go by, and I'm seeing this smoke everywhere in the backcountry, just like little fires. And you can't have fires out here. We have pretty bad fires in Southern California. Mm-hmm. So again, I drive down the road a little bit, and I think actually, let me see if I can share this video with you here. There's a video of all of these fires. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. You see that one? Yeah. So this is just from people that had just crossed. And I'm like, this makes absolutely no sense, right? So these people were coming across, and they were doing well, let me ask you, right? You go to another country, and not for work, but let's just say you go to another country to claim asylum. What are the first like 3 things you're going to do?
I mean, you go through customs, right? Like,
Well, no. You went illegally. Sorry.
oh, okay, okay. I'm sorry. Like, you're asking me. Okay,
Yeah.
well, find food, water, shelter. I don't
It's
know.
exactly what they did. Exactly what they did. Now, if we went downtown San Diego right now and picked up 10 males and put them in this same situation, they would probably all die, right? These
Hmm.
people came through and were trained, knew exactly what they were doing. They started those fires, they built a shelter, and then they started bartering, um, which was interesting to watch. Cigarettes, just same thing we've seen in other countries that we've been in, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Wow.
I'm like, okay, this doesn't make sense at all. Then as my buddy and I were driving out of that area right there, we saw these IDs on the ground and then passports. One right here.
Uh-huh.
I have, I'm not going to show the guy's picture because it'll get blocked, but the visa, I mean, look at the amount of stamps in here.
Wow.
Every one of these pages is stamped like that.
Mm.
You see that writing right there, the red one?
Yeah.
That's
Uh-huh.
Iran.
Yeah. That's super nice.
So this guy's in and out of Iran, Taji, Uzbek, Turkmenistan.
Tajikistan. I was there. Yeah. Good times.
Did you get a nice passport stamp?
It's on my old we would get the diplomatic passports on the teams because we'd be going to, we'd go in. So I had, or it wasn't diplomatic, it was brown, whatever the brown one was. So that's nice.
So yeah, then I'm going, hey, this doesn't look right. Why are nobody picking this stuff up? So then a couple of friends of mine came out the next time, and we started picking up just grocery bags full of this stuff: passports, birth certificates, So
they're bringing it all here to discard it, like, or they?
But it's
what do you think?
It's a very common question. It's an important question. Why are they throwing their stuff away? So Trump, we kind of start from where we're at now and then back up. Mm-hmm. There was these people came here and claimed asylum, right? So in order to claim asylum, you have to go through a port of entry. These people did not do that because the Biden administration didn't have the remain in Mexico policy. Right now, if you want to claim asylum, you have to go through a port of entry, and then we go, hey, hang out in Tijuana and we'll call you someday.
Which is what it should be.
Yes, yeah. I agree. Mm-hmm. People don't like to do that. So what happened during Biden, these people would come in through areas where there's no border wall at all, which is, there's probably about 15 miles in San Diego County alone. There's no border wall. Some places you could drive right through. So these people would come through, and they knew that we could deny their asylum claim if we could prove that they didn't claim asylum in one of the countries that they went through. So let's say you're from Eritrea, right? You didn't go from Eritrea to the Tecate border. There were probably some other countries in there, probably like 10. So if we have all, like that guy's passport I just showed you, if we have all those stamps, we're going to say, hey, why didn't you claim asylum in these 10 other countries?
Right.
So you can't claim asylum here. So they knew that. Mm-hmm. And it was extremely coordinated. The Chinese, for example, there's so much to talk about. This cell phone right here, this was the first cell phone that we found, and it was just laying on the side of the road, and I plugged it in. Knowing what I know now, I would not plug anything in, but plugged it in, charged it. We're trying to look at the fingerprints to see what the password was. It was 1 2 3 4 5 6. This guy's entire
Fantastic.
trip from Wuhan, which I wouldn't have known what Wuhan was before
Right.
COVID. So his entire trip from Wuhan to San Gabriel, it's like up by LA, was in there. All the addresses, phone, his contacts, pictures, his trip through the Darien Gap, the jungle,
Yeah.
videos, everything. From that phone, we're in over 200 different Telegram chats now, specifically on how to get into the United States.
That's insane.
They're still open. They're still operating.
And obviously you're just kind of like in there monitoring now at this point,
Yep.
trying to gather as much information as possible.
So
that's
at
like,
first,
oh, that's insane. Yeah, keep going.
so at first we're just some idiots picking up trash along the border, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then it starts to click. There's lots of clicks in the last 4 years here. But it starts to click like, hey, nobody's doing this. How are we going to know who's in this country? Because this Mohammed's going to come through, and now he's John Smith, and
Right.
we have no way of. We don't have any facial recognition because we don't have any of his IDs. So I have those black tubs with the yellow lid. Those I have probably a dozen of those full that we haven't even had time to go through yet.
That's insane.
Yes. Right now we've scanned like 4,200 of these documents, but this is that just so.
You need some computing power and the ability to, just have someone feeding all that stuff in too.
Yeah.
Into
the
a system.
Because nobody wants to be the scanner guy. Everybody wants to be the field guy.
Right.
I don't want to be the scanner guy either.
I mean, it would get a little monotonous, I would say, but it still needs to be done. We got to find somebody.
So this whole time, just up until recently, we learned that nobody else was picking this stuff up. Border Patrol wasn't picking it up. So what it came down to, what we started to realize was the only people, and I wish the country would realize this, the only people that we have are ourselves, your neighbors.
Yep.
The people in your neighborhood, and a little bit further out, because what happened was we started all coming together, and then I kind of became the main point of contact. So people would bring me the stuff that they would leave on the illegals would leave when they went through their property.
Right.
Then some of the Border Patrol guys would figure this out, and because of the gun store, I sold guns to a lot of these guys. So I would leave, or I would go to sleep, wake up the next morning, and there would be a pile of stuff in my barn that they left overnight.
Yeah.
So we became this quasi civilian fusion center, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
That's what I would call it now. Early on, I don't know what we were. I had no plan. I had no idea. I just thought, hey, this seems important. Because I was thinking, okay, if I go to another country and all my stuff gets stolen, but my passport is still in my pocket, I'm okay.
Right.
If I lose my passport, I'm screwed. That's like the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
And these people are just dropping it. That made no sense to me. So it started with just a couple friends, and then it grew and grew and grew, and now we are working with every agency and organization you could think of. We're feeding them information, and because of SB 54, Senate Bill 54 in California, local and state cannot work with the federal government on immigration-related issues. So just give you a hypothetical that happens. This is kind of an extreme one, though. Let's say there's a load vehicle or a vehicle with bodies, or 10. It's got 10 people in it that they're trying to get through Highway 8, right? CHP pulls them over. They can't call Border Patrol. So what do? They
call you.
Maybe. Um,
Maybe.
so well, before TGI, they would give these people tickets, tow the car, but then if they tow the car, now you got 10 people on the side of the freeway, and that's still CHP's problem, right?
Right.
So then what do they do? Is it easier just to look the other way and give me a ticket because you know where I live and you know how to come get my money?
Right.
So they would just kind of look the other way. Now the TGI's been here, we have the relationships, we sell guns to all these people. Yeah, sometimes we will get a phone call and we pass it to the right people. So we are literally this weird civilian fusion center that we're just starting to get matched up with actual fusion centers now. So we went from picking up trash to we went and just had a meeting with the CBP commissioner in Washington and the NCTC director in Virginia 2 weeks ago.
Nice. Who's the new NCTC director?
I knew you were going to ask me that, so I looked it up because I can't remember his last name. It is. Where did I put it? He's a Marine. Hold on, I got it somewhere here. It is Joe Wiersky, Weirski.
Okay. I'll have to look into it. That should have been something I looked into, Rick, after like who took the spot after old Joe Kent, did his little stage bow. But it's been busy, been quite a few things going on. So
yeah.
Well, how was that? The meeting with him was the meeting with him, decent, or
yeah,
things kind of receptive?
I learned some things to do and not to do. So don't ever take an Uber to an intelligence facility. They don't like that at all.
Yeah. Tradecraft.
I'm like, what do you?
Tradecraft 101.
How'd you think I was going to get here? You would send a car or something. What do you want me to do?
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
Until we get any funding, I'm paying for it. So send a car.
So they were like, you did what?
Yeah.
And you Ubered here?
And then I brought a bunch of these documents, passports and IDs and cell phones and stuff. And I had it in a Pelican case with, one of those ones with wheels. Yeah, right. That's another thing. You don't want to walk up to a intelligence facility with the Pelican case, but I don't know. It was funny.
Yeah, they get nervous about stuff. I don't know. So I mean, I guess it is warranted in the game, but yeah, at the same time, like if they know you're coming, bringing stuff with you, I don't know. Sometimes
that was a surprise. It was like, hey, check this out. Didn't know what I was bringing.
Yeah. Oh well, hey, that's cool. Maybe heads up. I don't know. I'm gonna bring a Pelican case full of documents for you guys to look at. But
so the meeting went really well. I guess I could say there will be a lot more collaboration moving forward. We went from 0 to 100 in 4 years. It only took 4 years.
Yeah, that's pretty quick. That's quick. I mean, I think that's actually still kind of a good time frame. So what happens a lot of times is sometimes things move so fast that you just don't have the bandwidth to like back up the moves. And so I think 4 years at least, you had some time to figure out what you don't know at least, so you can try to start.
I agree. That's
bridging that gap.
That's how I looked at it as well. I was thinking, hey, if this happened 2 years ago or a year ago, would we have been ready? And no, we wouldn't have.
Right. I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, so not, that not to say like there's like destiny that you can't do your own thing, but it's just one of those, it's like, if it doesn't work out, then move on, do something different. And you're probably going to get something out of whatever happened or whatever went bad or blah, 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 So yeah, I mean, it's getting the meeting now where you're like in a pretty good place. And now you're like, yeah, actually we can facilitate, doing some good things with you guys, on a larger scale now that we have, whatever the increase in manpower, the increase in, hopefully you're getting some funding that, we'll share some stuff later so that people can, So anybody watching, can get on and help out, and because you're a 501c3, right?
We are now. I didn't want to be. Customers kept coming in the store, and I mean, my gun store is like less than 1,000 square feet. It's a tiny little store. But customers kept coming in and saying, "Hey, you should start a nonprofit so we could donate." And then I did, and then no one donated. So
Yeah, it's the hardest part.
yeah,
Well, dude, in the philanthropy game is just like the nonprofit game. I did a little stint. It's to get people to donate, you have to like spend money on events, which doesn't make sense, right? Like all these things, like all these big, like the SEAL Foundation, they're throwing $1 million parties. Like all these other, not to say they don't use their money wisely. They're getting big clientele that are giving a bunch of money, at these parties. But it's just like, it's one of those things. Like, guys, do we like? Why can't all the rich people just have their parties and then just like donate without the nonprofit having to throw the party and pay for it and all the, like it's just kind of a weird dynamic for all of it in the nonprofit game.
I've learned that, unfortunately, as well, that these people want to feel like they're a part of something. So
yep,
when you have the gala or the golf tournament, they are there and they're public, but
yep,
we're a very, very small team. I have different layers of this onion that I can pull from,
right,
depending upon what we're doing. But I keep it small because I don't have the ability to vet people in a way that I should, right? So these are people that I grew up with my entire life here.
Yeah.
And we don't have time. I don't have time to plan a golf tournament or a gala. You can't be operational and
no,
do the fundraising at the same time. But then I also don't have the money to hire someone to fundraise. So it's
well, that's another thing, because people don't realize that it goes along with it. I mean, most of these nonprofits, they hire like event coordinators. They hire people that like their only job is to plan all these events that they're like going to do to get donors to come to and then give money. And so it's like you're paying someone a salary to plan parties so that people will give you money. It's so backwards. But you're right. I mean, people want to be a part of it. They want to have that feel good factor. Like clicking a button and just donating money to something doesn't give you the like, oh, I'm really helping, or like it doesn't give you the warm and fuzzy of going into like a ballroom and having a nice dinner and then everyone being like, thank you so much for coming. We love you all. You're just the greatest people alive. And then they're all like, yes, we are. Oh my God. So yeah.
And then I also can't. I couldn't take time away to do something like that when I have boxes full of documents that could potentially stop the next homeland attack, right? So if I'm out drinking beer at a gala that we're having, and then something happens here in the stateside, and then I find the ID a month later, I would never be able to forgive myself for that.
No, I mean, I get it. Because, well, it's a fine line to, cross. And have you looked into the grant game yet? I mean, that's a whole nother thing too, because like that's what people don't realize. You kind of have to hire a grant writer.
Yep.
And because you can't do it on your own, and everything that you have to submit is all like has to be a certain way in a certain format. And so then by the time you spent time doing all that, you might not even get the grant right. So you spend all this time doing all that, and then and then there's either errors or you just don't even get it. And so you're like, well, okay, I could have been doing what what my organization is supposed to be doing, or I could spend a week trying to get these grants written and submitted and all that. It's just it's a mess, man. But I mean, I get why it is the way it is.
It's by far the most difficult thing is balancing the two, and it's really realistically it's like 95 operational, 5% trying to raise money. When we raise money is when the guys or myself go, hey, like I can't do that this month. And we're talking about, we have 4 vehicles, and they're all POVs, but so fuel, we have 4 Starlinks, the whole radio thing. We started out with Balfangs, right? Out along the border, and real quick, the cartel figured it out, and they just hot mic'd us, so we couldn't talk to each other on the radio. Yeah.
Yep.
So we go, okay,
Yep.
well, we got to get encrypted radios. Well, yeah, those are super cheap, right? Encrypted radios.
Yeah. That doesn't cost anything.
So we came up with the money for that, got them, and then quickly realized that the terrain does not like radios at all.
Yep.
So, I don't know, right around when the Starlink Mini came out, I think one of us got one, and it was game changer, just such a game changer, because now we can just use our cell phones, and we can
Just
fly the
Wi-Fi.
drone, and
Yeah.
everybody else can see the drone using the Starlink. So then we put one on every truck, and instead of, so we still have the radios, we still use them, but the Starlink is, we could text message back and forth, and it just makes it so easy. And then the radios are attached to the Starlink, so if the guys are out and I'm home, I can still hear what's going on. I can manage it from this room right here.
That's pretty nice. Yeah.
But all of this stuff, look, I just sat in the back of a helicopter and flew cheerleaders around, right? It's pretty simple. Just stared over there and then said clear right. I didn't use the damn radio. The radio was attached to the helicopter. Now, if someone wants to donate a Black Hawk, I will gladly accept that donation.
I mean, we might know a few people.
But trying to learn the radio stuff, and then making these intel reports for the different organizations, different agencies, all of this stuff all at once was a lot. It was like getting fed with 100 different fire hoses while paying to do that. But we saw this gap that we knew would be important someday. We were hoping that someday was going to be a lot sooner than it was, but we're here now. We've used a lot of other, like we talked about before, a lot of other technology that we've developed and we've put out along the border, and we're really trying to decrease the gotaways at this point. So we're trying to detect patterns, stop the gotaways, and kind of lean more in towards the special interest aliens, which are special interest aliens are people from countries that the United States has deemed unfriendly, I guess. Iran, North Korea, Cuba. So we've been trying to kind of parse things out that we have. So we're going after the special interest aliens first, and then we'll go after, then we'll look at Mexico and Chile and other. So we're doing it a lot smarter than we did before.
Right. Oh, sorry.
Let me let's look at this video if you want. This is
Let's do it. Which one you want? The
1551. So here's a video of some of the stuff that we have. Those are scanned. Those are all Chinese passports right there. That's Turkey. That is Nepal. That's African countries. Those are all cell phones.
That's insane.
There's some more bins full of crap. I went out yesterday.
It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I understand them getting rid of the stuff, but it doesn't make sense to me that they're not like, Russia, that they're not like burning this or like, trying to destroy it.
So a lot of them are burned or they did try to destroy them. So lots of people ask that question. Okay, so back in the day, or now, let's say now, we're back to regular illegal immigration that everybody here on a border town is used to, right? So the cartel will drop them, a mile or two back south of the actual border, and they'll try to put camo on, they'll put their carpet shoes on, and they'll walk up to the wall or wherever they're trying to come across. If there's no wall, they'll try to come through, but they're dropped way back, so we can't see them. During the Biden administration, the cartel drove them all the way up to the wall. So actually,
Okay.
let's. I got a video here.
That makes sense.
So my only thought as to why they dropped them so late was, where did that go? They didn't realize that they were going to get dropped all the way right up against the wall. This might be it. Oh, I have to delete one. So they get dropped and they go, oh crap, I gotta get rid of this stuff. I'm right here, and they toss it right there. Most of the stuff that we found was U.S. side. So this is one of the main crossing points. This is in the U.S. right now. See those kids right there? All those people just crossed. Do they look like they just went through a massive desert somewhere?
No.
No. Yeah.
They look clean, healthy, well fed. They certainly don't look like they need asylum.
Yeah, they're having the time of their life there.
Mm-hmm. Kids just swinging. It's fun. Man, I feel like just so many people don't understand how big of a problem this actually is. That's what's wild about this.
It's a massive problem on many different levels because one, it affects our a lot of these people send money back home. So let's say they are working legally, which they can't really, but let's just say they are, and they're paying taxes and they're doing everything that the left says that they think left believes they are doing.
Right.
Well, then they're sending a ton of money back home in remittance. I did a Substack on one of these, and Mexico alone was like $64 billion that we send or people send back to Mexico every year. But then in California, more than 50% of Mexicans are on some sort of welfare. So I'm paying for them to use the welfare while they're taking their money and sending it back to Mexico.
Yep.
The congressional apportionment is based off of the census, and the census doesn't differentiate between illegal or legal resident.
Nope.
And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people, like we talked about earlier, a lot of people don't understand that there's not a wall the entire border.
Mm-hmm.
In some places,
how easy it is in a lot of places to just walk right, or like you said, drive right across, walk right across. Like no one's checking. I mean, I know I have some buddies in Texas that know some ranchers that like they were especially under Biden, they were trying, they're like, there's people crossing here all the time. And like, what are we supposed to do? And they were like, they didn't care. They were just like, oh, well, I don't know. Figure it out. It's my property. Like, what? How am I supposed to fix this? Oh, it's insane.
It's very common, but I mean, it is way better under the Trump administration because of the asylum, the remain in Mexico policy. Check out that picture that I just put on there, 4784. So this was the very first time my buddy and I went out at night. And I thought, I'm like, what is that? A herd of cattle? What is that? And I just got this thermal too. This new company came and did a demo at my store, and I was like, yeah, let me take one. So I'm not really used to it yet.
Right.
I never had a thermal. I just had nods. So I'm like, those are those? Because I'm looking through the little eye hole thing. It looks like people on here. Okay, I get it. But at night, I didn't know what the hell it was.
Yeah, I was like judging you. I was like, I don't know, man. That looks like people to me.
This was very early on. And I remember I looked at, so they started walking towards us, and I looked at my buddy. I'm like, hey, man, I don't have that many rounds in my gun. So I don't really have a good plan here. We weren't expecting this at all.
Yeah.
It ended up being 62 people. And they just walked right through. I've got so this next one, 4785. Check out that one. So these guys came up, and they were the guy on the right. What's he got in his hand?
Oh, yeah.
And he's got a vest on. It's a little bit low. It's, you know,
Yeah. That's
you can still shoot him center mass just fine. So these guys came up and actually cut a little, just one piece of barbed wire, and then these people started pouring through. I got the video here.
it's insane. I mean, like, I know this stuff's happening, right? But it's just still crazy to wow. Just like see it unfolding.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we were shitting ourselves because it was just him and I had like 17 rounds, right? Well, I'm in California. I only had 10 rounds.
You only had 10, right?
Yeah.
Because anything else would be very bad, very, very bad.
So
California, man. Oof.
you can kind of tell, but they're pulling their luggage. So this is what I meant. Can you just pause it for a second?
Yeah.
Or can I pause it?
Yeah.
So this is what I meant when they got dropped right there. And
Right.
they just started right to the left, or if they're walking on their right, there's a bush right there by that big rock, big boulder. That's
Yep.
where most of those IDs were found. So they would get dropped, and then it would be a mad dash to get across into the US, and then they were just doffing stuff as they were going. Now, a couple years in, once they figured out what we were doing, they started dropping them a lot more south. But come to find out, the Mexican National Guard, they only eat one time a day. So if you bring them a pizza, they will bring you ID cards and passports.
Okay.
I'm not saying we ever put anything across the wall, but
Yeah, no, that would not be smart.
there was no wall. So how did we know?
Yeah.
The GPS was.
It's really hard to tell where you are, you know. And like we were doing ops in Afghanistan one time. Like we were out of JBAD, so we were right on the kind of over in, the east side or the border of wait, no, it wasn't Iran. It was Pakistan, and man, yeah. Sometimes you just get confused. You know where you're at. It happens.
I think everywhere, in Vietnam and Laos, who knows where it is.
Yeah.
So they're throwing their stuff out. You can hit. They're throwing their stuff out now. We started to realize, you see those flashes? That's the LiDAR on their cell phones. Some of them are actually just the lights, but that's how we started seeing these people from like a mile back, because they would be walking with their cell phones. And we can see those flashes. So my truck is right behind that rock over there. And at the time, my truck looked just like a Border Patrol K9 truck. And no, I did not do that on purpose, but it turned out to work very well.
Yeah.
So we found these. I thought I had one. So the NGOs, non-government organizations like Catholic Charities, Jewish Family Services, there's a bunch of them.
Yep.
They started leaving these documents that had all the instructions on what to do to get into the country, coaching them basically. And we found them, and then we also found them in the chats that we got into, all of the same stuff. So these people knew exactly what to do. And in the document, it said, look for a Border Patrol vehicle. So all those people right there went straight to my truck as we're over in the rocks over on the other side over there. And that's when I said to my buddy, hey, I don't have that many bullets, and neither do you. So what's the plan here? So I hit the alarm on the truck to see what they would do. And they did nothing. They stood there. We waited like, I don't know, 10, 15 more minutes, and they pushed down this little ravine and went out towards the railroad tracks. Come to find out later in the chats that was another spot. Go to the railroad tracks and go left or right, and eventually you'll hit Border Patrol. And then Border Patrol would grab them. Sometimes they'd be out there for a couple days, and they'd kind of cordon them off into areas like the video earlier with the fire.
Right.
Actually, the next video, 6689, that's a group of people that are just waiting to be picked up.
Ooh, that one. Wow.
So
Oh,
this,
those don't look like, South Americans. That's weird. Well, maybe one. I'm seeing a lot of Asian though in there. Hmm.
there's also a tranny in there if you look close enough.
Oh, of course there is. Of course there is.
It's California, man.
Yeah, literally everywhere. We got to say troon in the future, because otherwise you get flagged.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. Troon is just like it's the same thing. It's just it doesn't get the flag from certain platforms that dislike you talking about gender thingies. So in the future, if I don't really actually care.
That's the only example I have to use that word, I think, in this.
I like it. Here, we got a question in here before we move too far in. All right. Milo said, where does all the stuff end up? Do you digitize it all and try to coordinate prints and such with you? So yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
This is, what was that guy's name?
Milo.
Milo knows more than 99% of the people. It's very interesting, because I'll be honest, I didn't know what USCIS was before this. I do now, though, because we work with them. So
Yep.
One of the issues that we have is the main issue we have is bureaucracy, and right behind that is staffing, which I guess would also kind of be bureaucracy. So
Right.
what we were trying to figure out a appropriate way to talk about this. So we were working with them on some fraud stuff, like exactly what I brought up. So let's say we do have a lot of temporary resident cards that people had tossed. So let's say you're from Venezuela and then you came here and you claimed asylum because everybody's trying to kill your family in Venezuela. And we go, okay, sounds good, man. See you in 8 years in court. And you use the CBP1 app to go through and do the whole process and come across and everything.
Right.
But then Cory and his team are out of the border, and we find your Mexico temporary residence ID or whatever country it is, but you didn't put that in the CBP1 app. You conveniently left that out. Well, that's fraud.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can deny your fraud claim. So that's another reason why these people would leave stuff out there, and they didn't want to be caught with it. So we were working with USCIS on fraud claims, that exact scenario. But every time before our new meeting with the CBP commissioner, what would happen is we would get 2 steps forward and 14 steps back. So we started really going into this, and then Minnesota happened, and all these agents got pulled all over. No, it was the Somalia stuff, the fraud, all that. So all these USCIS guys got pulled to wherever that was. I don't remember.
To Minnesota.
Yeah. So
was it Minnesota or Dearborn? Yeah, it's Dearborn. Yeah, which is Michigan.
So we would get excited. Okay, finally, we'll work with somebody. We're getting this stuff in. We're going to. They actually sent somebody out here to grab some of these documents, and then it kind of just fizzled out. And that's been the continual thing here. Is that it will start moving quickly and then it'll fizzle out. But it is difficult on many reasons. One of them is because the government has a hard time, because there isn't a very good pathway to bring community-based intelligence with their intelligence.
Right.
I don't have a clearance anymore. There's a couple of my guys that still do, but there's always that massive barrier. Like, I don't know if we can work with you. And luckily we finally got to these, to Washington and Virginia, and they're going to provide the top cover for it because it needs to be done. It just
Right.
needed the right people to agree to it. And then we
Yep.
need to find the guardrails and how we work together and how we stay safe and keep the country safe. But that's been the biggest issue is the bureaucracy. So to answer your question in a very long-winded way, yes, kind of, sort of.
Yep. The goal is to digitize it all and then, be the fusion cell, at least, if you get there. But right now it's a work in progress, we'll say. Is that kind of correct?
Yeah, yes, exactly. Right now, it's we're kind of just we're new in the relationship, and we're feeling each other out and seeing what we need to do to work together
Hmm.
safely for both sides, right?
Yep.
Um,
And a lot of
but we
that requires funding, guys. So the goatinitiative.org, you want to go on there. There's a donate tab right at the top, and you can help out. You'll probably get an email or something. You don't necessarily get a ballroom like "you're so great, we love you," but
I can make a
you're
video like that though.
yeah. Maybe he'll send you one. He'll be like, "Thanks, guys." But
The
I
monthly
mean, I feel
donations are
like
huge.
yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like securing our borders, and that this is another thing I talk about too a lot in not only like spaces on X but in other live streams is we have to stop relying on the government to do
Yeah,
everything because they can't, and they obviously have shown they can't. They're so far behind in so many different avenues. Regular everyday Americans have to step up, and they have to start doing more. And then what you're doing is a perfect example. Like I mean, again, you had no plans. You went out and you saw a bunch of trash, and you're like, "This is a problem. Like this is actually kind of scary. We're going to do something about this." And then boom. Now 4 years later, you're having meetings in DC to talk about this issue, and like so, this is the way it works. Like guys, you can just go do things, right? Like some of the things, if you want to go do, maybe check and make sure they're legal first, but obviously just for a little top cover. But you can just go do things like the investigative journalists right now that are going around and hitting a lot of these NGOs for fraud and all that stuff. Like they're just doing that. They're just doing it to the point where the California government decided they had to pass a bill to try to stop that from happening, which is insane to me. But yeah, whatever.
we actually took Nick Shirley to the border. We've done a ton of these tours with people. I don't know if you saw the James O'Keefe movie Line in the Sand. That was we got James O'Keefe. He was the very first person that we got out here, and
Really? Okay.
we reached out to everyone, and again, it was just me sitting in my living room on Instagram trying to private message people without a blue check mark at the time. Like, who is
Right.
this idiot? Nobody was answering me.
It's
But
hard. No,
James
I get
O'Keefe
it.
did.
Hey, good for him.
Um,
All right, that's pretty cool. He's moved up a little bit in my book now, just because of that. I didn't know that.
yeah, it was interesting. He came out and then and then he was like, "This is crazy. We got to make a movie." And I said, "Yeah, sounds good, man. We got to do something." I don't. That wasn't on my list, but I mean,
Movie
yeah,
wasn't what I was thinking, but hey,
do something.
yeah.
That was interesting trying to navigate through all that. But so, like you said, you could just do things. So come to find out, there's a whole underworld of GWAT veterans that were doing this
Hmm.
in some sort of capacity. Maybe they were paying attention to what was going on in, I'm just making some up, in Arkansas, right? So now I literally have a fusion center at my house. So people and the information just continuously flows into TGI, and then I push it out where it needs to go. Um, but the biggest network I have, and this will get into some interesting stories, are the locals. So as a Green Beret, I mean, when you go into a new place, what's besides the food, water, shelter? I
Yep.
imagine you start
Yep.
talking to the locals, right?
Yep. Locals. Yeah. Usually, I mean, in a perfect world, it's already set up. Somebody, hopefully, an asset's already been in to kind of set up that you're going to be coming, and then you have all the bona fides and you get that all done and move in. But if you're going in blind, right? Yeah, I mean, you're trying to find locals that would be similarly affected with whatever bad is happening, and then you try to kind of move out from there. So yeah, the locals are the locals are important, and a lot of people, when they think of like unconventional warfare, they forget that aspect. It's really it's the only aspect that really matters. Is basically you're working with locals to create a network of other locals so that all of the locals can work together.
Yeah, because you have to get everybody's buy-in, and that's what is so difficult. It will take the United States government generations to fix the damage from the Biden administration along the border. I'm just talking specifically about border stuff, right? So
Mhm.
let me give you an example of what happened. You guys saw the videos that we put up. Can we look at what number is that? Whatever that other ACF
This one?
3306. Yeah. So these people would come across, and then it's like they immediately just started taking advantage of our generosity here. It was like a game to them. It wasn't. Um, they were not claiming asylum. Must
Right.
not been the right video. But that guy, the guy in the orange hat, just is standing there like, "What's up? I just made it." And
I'm here.
yeah, so it would just drive me. We heard people complaining about the food that the NGOs gave them right when they crossed, and much different than the normal illegal immigration that border towns are used to. Those
Right.
growing up here, people came here for a better life, and they worked hard. They assimilated. That's a word that doesn't exist with most of these people that came in under the Biden administration. So back to the network. The locals are extremely important because the federal system is just designed for turnover, right? We're going to get a new commissioner.
Right.
We're going to get a new chief. The new agent that's there right now probably won't be there next year. So what would happen is those large groups of people would come across. Border Patrol would round them up on people's property, not government property, on people's property. And then they would be there for a couple days. They would use the people's outlets to charge their phones and their spigots to get water, leave the water on, dry the well. It was a disaster for the backcountry.
Right.
Then they would take these people to get processed, kind of, and then put them on buses and then drop them off in town or at the airport. There's a couple other places in town that they would drop them off. So these people saw them the night before on their property, woke up, went to work, went to the grocery store, and then saw those same people at the trolley station on the way home. How do you recover from that? If you show up with a badge right now to my neighbor's house, you're probably going to get shot. So luckily, TGI was there, at least in San Diego County, and we understood that a lot of these agents were pulled to do processing, so they were pulled from the line. That wasn't really their choice. I have my own personal thoughts about it, but I understand that was their job, and that's what they were pulled to do. So nobody was watching the line at the time, and the trust has just eroded massively. So if you're the rancher on the border that's been there for 30 years, is it going to be easier for you to work with the cartel who's been there for 30 years, or the United States government that changes every 6 months?
Yeah, obviously, the local, or the rancher.
So
has that relationship.
Yeah, we have to win that back. The government has to win that back, and it's not going to be with a suit or a badge. And so I started seeing that early on. Like they'll talk to me. I'm one of them. I'm one of the neighbors, right? And the gun store makes it easy. That's an easy nexus. Even in, people think California, there's no guns. We are I've got 47 acres, so I can shoot at my house here. We are kind of in the middle of nowhere, but between the gun store and living in it, we get so much information. That's what I was going to talk about. So I got a call one day, and then my camera. We have about 50 cameras out there now along the border, and some other sensors. But I get a call, then the camera goes off, and I see these Mexican military guys, a couple 100 yards and more than that probably 300 or 400 yards into the U.S. This Mexican military with their weapons that they had, and I'm like, what? Why are these guys in the U.S.? So I started talking to the neighbors. The Mexican military was looking for somebody, so they came into the U.S. and they were checking door handles on sheds and barns and stuff, and searching in them in the United States.
It's just a little bit. I mean, I don't know. We have SOPA agreements for a reason, and it's kind of violating it a little bit. Just a smidge. No big deal.
Yeah, yeah. So stuff,
Wow.
just weird stuff happens out here all the time. You know, it's kind of interesting to be in the middle of it.
Milo has another. Here's another banger. Try bugging the BCUs again in a month or two. There's been some restructuring recently. All right, bro. You in the know or what?
Yeah, Milo, why don't you just reach out to me?
Yeah, I have to get y'all. Y'all gonna have to get connected. Milo, send him a DM. He's what's your handle on X?
The
Cory Goat,
or
just Cory Goat.
Cory at thegoatinitiative.org.
There you go, Cory at the Goat Initiative. Yeah, I mean, actually, the amount of people that I've connected with on X and through this to help out with other things is actually, it's pretty crazy. There's a lot of people with a lot of expertise. So Milo, if you what's up, then get involved, and we got it. But if you can reach out and help Cory out if you can, appreciate it.
So kind of in the middle of all this, local politicians were, it was right before the election. So when Trump got elected, were reaching out to us and saying, hey, can we go look at the border? And I wanted to say, yeah, I mean, you could just drive out there and look, but I didn't. We took them. We ended up taking Tulsi to the border for 2 days, very, very quietly. And yep. She saw everything, the people crossing, massive groups of people. We went from way far out east all the way into the city of San Diego to look at the fentanyl crisis firsthand. We ended up randomly becoming Homeland Security detail before he had one. That was just so many weird things have led up until getting to the commissioner. But it's not from a shortage of hard work, that's for sure.
Right. Dang, man. It's crazy. It's I mean, again, it's something is like happening. We don't, which one? Image?
Yeah, 8167 or 76. That's our cartel friend that likes to steal our cameras. Yeah. It is very difficult for me to not rig that camera up with something else, but I'm trying to do everything above board here.
Guys, technically, booby trapping is illegal. Unfortunately, it's a sad day, in the world of like protecting your own things, but it's sad truth.
Let's see, 0411. So this is my friend Gio. He sadly took his life two years ago. He was a MARSOC Marine 2 years ago next month, I believe. But we were out there and he found that pair of pants and he was looking at it, and inside the pants it was sewn an address and a phone number. And that's another thing. We have hundreds of addresses and phone numbers. I actually went to one of them from the very first cell phone that we got, that Chinese one, 1234556. There was an address in San Gabriel, and I happened to be up there at a California Narcotics Canine convention to try and sell cops guns. But cops are the cheapest people on earth, so don't ever do that.
Yeah.
So I go out there and it wasn't selling any guns. I'm like, I'm gonna go check out this house. Why not, right? So this was before I knew how many of these Chinese illegal aliens were going to San Gabriel and Flushing, New York, the other place. So I go up there, and I noticed that on the in that complex, the no soliciting sign was in Mandarin. This is weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
I walked up to the door. There was a motion sensor. There were drapes pulled across the garage. The top of the garage door was glass, and there were 3 different cameras on the outside of the house just facing the front. I'm like, this is a little bit weird, right? I go up to the door. There's probably a dozen pairs of shoes outside the door, all different sizes. And I knocked on the door, and I held the dude's phone up with his passport picture on the screen. I said, "Hey, I found your phone. I just want to give it back to you." Nobody answered the door. I was trying to be a nice guy, you know? So
Rude, man. Just no sense of hospitality from these people. That's sad.
yeah. And
Here we got one more from Milo, real quick. Plans to get any language specialists, signal guys to look outward.
We talked a little bit before the podcast started here, and I would say that those plans are, if you would like to help, please reach out. But yes.
The goal. Yeah, the goal is there to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here Texas Mother Bird said, Texas Mother Bird watches all the shows. She's awesome. We weren't even allowed to put spike strips at the gates onto the ranch to try and stop the coyotes from driving through the ranches to avoid detection on the highways.
Yeah, but they put them out for us, though.
Oh, yeah. Rude, man.
I know.
Rude. I mean, what if some spike strips just happen to fall out of the truck, right? I mean, I don't know, like just randomly fall out of the truck maybe it's a convenient spot, maybe inconvenient. I don't know. Just spitballing here.
My guys would probably run them over, so we don't want to do
that. Yeah, don't do it. Not for your guys. I'm talking about. Yeah. Anyways, we'll move past it.
Did that other video work?
Which one? The 6689? No, that we already saw that one.
2024.
Yeah, that one. Let's see.
So this was really weird. So I had the drone up, and that's on the south side. These people were walking up to a table. They were opening their backpacks, and then somebody was going through their stuff and then giving them a wristband. And then come to find out later on, the wristbands determine how much money you owe. So whatever color you have is how much money you owe. So they would get I don't know why they were searching them, but they would go through their stuff, and then they would get they would hang out over on next to the fire over there, and then they would get pushed across shortly after that. This was so well coordinated. Cartels would push a group of 100, 200 people across, and then they would wait until that group got picked up before they pushed the next group across. So they didn't try to overload the system. It was so well coordinated. It was incredible to watch.
That's insane. Like, yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is like, and it's not only coordinated from outside of the United States, it's coordinated from inside as well. So those, Catholic Charities, all these people know where they're going, and they know the steps to take, and they know that once they get picked up, even today, with the border being more closed than it was under Biden, with the things changing how they have changed, they still know, like Catholic Charities and all these, they made billions of dollars in tax money from the federal government, and they have lawyers that will take all of these cases too. And that's another thing people don't realize is like Catholic Charities for one. So you had Endeavors, you had you said another name of them, and then you have the Southwest Key. I'm sure those names all ring a bell, but
Southwest Keys actually was, we didn't even know this, one of their facilities was 1 mile away from a gun store. So then I would just drive that way in every morning, and I would see all of the people. Then, God, there were Chinese men that would sit outside of Southwest Keys, and another area, the Ramada in Mission Valley, was rented out to for unaccompanied alien children. So these Chinese guys would sit out there, and then somehow they would get access to these kids and then drive them north. We never figured out where they went. But that's all part of. Oh, I guess I glossed over one thing. I testified in Congress about a lot of this stuff. So the Office of Refugee Resettlement would then place these kids with unvetted sponsors across the country. And there's been some information that's come out recently about, oh, we found 20,000 kids, or I don't believe that's true. I believe it was not a clerical error, but I believe that they found where 20,000 kids were, meaning that maybe those 20,000 didn't exist. It was just on paper, and the number was wrong, or something. I don't think they physically found 20,000 kids. We've seen no proof of that.
Right.
I wish we would hit the HHS a lot harder. We had plenty of whistleblowers that worked there and talked about it. Plenty of people have testified in Congress about it and in the Senate. My friend Jared out of Florida is about to testify again in next week or the following week. I can't remember. But he's another person that I've talked about that we've that we've come together over this stuff. He was in the Coast Guard, retired, and spent his whole career doing this stuff. And now he does it just because it needs to be done. The government needs a lot of help with boots on the ground stuff in the country. That's one of the main things we noticed when nobody was doing this stuff.
Yep.
This country was never prepared for an invasion. I think we were too proud to think it would ever happen. And I can tell you that if the Democrats win again and this happens again, that will be the end of the country.
I mean, like you said earlier, I don't know how we fix even the problems that exist, and we haven't even really manifested yet into actual problems. I mean, between 10 and 20 million people is what the estimates are, and I mean, maybe you have a little better understanding, but that's people don't realize how many people that is too. I mean, that's more population than what 30, 40 states. It's insane. It's insane. And where did they all go? Well, Catholic Charities and Endeavors and Southwest Key and all these other NGOs helped to move them to literally every single voting district in the United States. Every single one. They moved all around. And that I did an article on this probably, I don't know, it's about a year ago maybe. And yeah, they like mapped out with the data that they found after the fact, and literally every single voting district was hit with illegal immigrants that came through.
Most of them went to sanctuary cities and sanctuary states and just bolstered the votes there.
Yep.
And even if they are not physically voting pen to paper, they are still voting by having a heartbeat in the census.
Yep. Kevin said if you count everyone who has come over the last 40 years, it's probably close to 40 to 50 million. I mean, nothing would surprise me. It's just, I don't know. I don't even know how we tackle this problem, just from a standpoint, like everybody's like, look, just mass deportations. Like, okay, so without massive funding, which has to come from Congress, and more than what they've given, and then without, an increase in manpower, there's no way to like locate, get a pattern of life and then interdict and then deport all of these people. and then you have the problem. Like, I mean, look what was happening in Minnesota and some of these other places when they were deporting violent, like, offenders who had done horrendous things to Americans, mind you. And I'm not going to say some of the stuff on here, but, just use your imagination. What's one of the worst things that could happen to people beyond murder? That was happening. And also they were getting murdered. And, ICE is going after these murderers, and there's people that are protesting to stop them. So, like, imagine if you're just, 10 or 20 million people, anybody who's an illegal alien or illegal immigrant, whatever, term makes you all warm and fuzzy inside. Imagine what would happen if we started doing that. Like it's just half of the country has lost its mind and I don't even know. Like, you have to kind of take on an authoritarian level, which is frowned upon in the United States.
These people have used our Constitution against us. They've weaponized our own Constitution, and they knew it. They knew it all along. We can't, we can't have a internment camp like Manzanar and throw everybody in there. That is an extreme. There's no way that's what would be needed for mass deportation, right? But we can't even just deport the real bad guys without people losing their minds.
Yeah, they lose their minds and then, come and attack ICE with either their vehicle or, don't listen to commands, and then they're armed and then, end up getting shot. And now it's this whole thing. Like, and again, they were after criminal illegal immigrants that have done some pretty horrendous things. And, and they still can't do it. Gotta bring up Amanda. Hey, Amanda, love you. She says, talk about your joint ventures in helping to identify FDOs entering the country in preparation for possible homeland attacks.
Those are difficult things to talk about. Carefully.
She's mad at us because we didn't do an outline.
I have an outline.
We totally did an outline, Amanda. We promise.
So the joint ventures, do you mean with the government or with about your joint ventures and helping identify organizations entering the country? So we have joint ventures with like GWAT veterans and other people that were stateside. I guess they're not really considered GWAT veterans, but they're stateside during GWAT. FBI people who are working in that capacity. Some of them are working in, like Arizona, whatever their DPS is there, that kind of stuff. They all have intel branches, right? Or intel jobs inside there. So a lot of these people have come together and provided information for me to give. So now I have this relationship directly with NCTC, right? So if I saw something right now that was, hey, this is an imminent threat, I wouldn't call local JTTF, or I wouldn't just put it in an email and send it to them, right? I'd call the director.
Right.
There's not another boots on the ground person in this county that could do that. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because the bureaucracy is what kills that. Now, let's say the normal Border Patrol agent out there sees something like that. It's got to go through like 100 people before it gets to the East Coast. And I mean, we play the telephone game. That's gonna. I'm not saying the government is horrible at that. They just they don't have a system. They don't have a good system to be able to move information at field speed, I guess is the best way to put it. So we have, I'm sure you're in about 100 million different signal chats, right? But if someone had something pertinent, now and it was Southern California or West Coast based, maybe you would send it to me now. So all of these podcasts that I do, which I absolutely hate doing, but I love doing yours.
Mine's fun, dude. Don't get it wrong.
So that's another thing. Do I do the fundraising or the podcast, or should I be out there picking stuff up and talking to the neighbors and trying to put bad guys away? But but all of these are important because a lot of the people that watch your show are going to reach out to me and say, hey, I can help with this, or I know this about this, and then I know which direction to put it. And maybe they're on the other side. Maybe they reach out to me and they say, hey, I'm with USCIS and I would love to work with you. So it just keeps all of these podcasts that I do, all the people I talk to, it's just a massive network, which turns out to be real small because you realize like oh, you work with that guy too? Well, I've been talking to that guy for a while. It's a
Yep.
massive network over a massive area, but a very small group of people.
Yep. No, I mean, no, I mean, I get like, you know, you want to be doing the work every day, but you do have to, I mean, market, you have to do certain things so that you can create new relationships. It's important. Hopefully you get some, you know, and some connections from just people watching this that, you know, can assist in whatever way. And even if they're not in, you know, California, Southern California, if they're, you know, somewhere close to the border and they're like, hey, we got this going on here. Well, how can I get involved and how can I help? And that's, I mean, that's huge. That's what we're missing. And that's what I think you know, anyone on the right, I mean, you know, the labels right, left, whatever, anyone that loves America and wants to protect America, right, and ensure that America stays America, has to be willing to join in and fight in some way. You know, again, I'm not saying you need to be the ones out there in the desert picking up trash and then trying to get it analyzed, but there's probably some way you could help, and you know, whatever that may be, whatever way, and that we definitely need more of that. So having you on here and then like talking about these problems that actually exist, that a lot of people again don't know that they even exist. So it's definitely important to talk about it. And I mean, I get it, you know, I get it. Like what I actually thought about, like, we're not going to name this a podcast because I just was like, you know, I call like certain people are members of Podcastistan, and I dislike a lot of the things that happen, especially when a podcast gets really, really big. You see it happen. So it's just, the stigma was kind of bothersome to me, but at the same time, it's like, you know what, it actually is what it is. And we're just going to do it differently here. You know, we're going to actually talk about things that are real and matter, and hopefully things that will, you know, help Americans that care about America stand up and do what is necessary to save our country. Because I don't think I want you to talk about it a little bit, but I don't think people understand how close or how much damage was done under the Biden administration. And just from, like you said, just from the immigration standpoint alone, but like NGO, you know, ecosystem that really flourished under the Biden administration, and just how detrimental that was too. So, you know, getting this information out is very important. I definitely believe that.
How much time do we have?
As much time as you want, brother. I ain't got nothing. I mean, I'm gonna have babies waking up in the morning, but it is what it is. You know, I've woke up and
good to go.
Yeah. I mean, I got coffee. I got, you know, we're good. We're good.
This might be interesting to watch. It's 5 minutes. Then people might have more questions, and they'll give me a chance to speak.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Here we go.
Every member of this country should be made aware. What I've seen in terms of the exploitation of migrants by cartels is horrifying, but awareness of the true crisis at the border must be understood. I have firsthand knowledge of how this crisis is destroying lives because for the last year, I have led an operation and most recently a nonprofit organization in the San Diego County area. San Diego County has become ground zero for the unmitigated incursion into the United States by undocumented migrants being smuggled here by cartels. There's a misconception that the over 10 million undocumented people coming across the border in the last 4 years are just looking for a better life. While that is true in many cases, U.S. government policy at the border is facilitating a multi-billion-dollar smuggling operation by the cartels. The cartels are not simply providing transportation for a cost. They are sexually assaulting women and children, and they're taking the lives of people without any fear of retribution. I grew up in this county. My family's here. My business is here. My friends are here behind me. And I'm terrified each and every single day by what is happening with no regard for our safety. For the last year, my team and I personally collected hundreds of discarded passports and driver's licenses. I have some here today. From individuals all over the world. Most of these IDs I find are crudely destroyed, lit on fire, ripped apart, or folded and buried. There are thousands of these travel documents blowing around the border, and many people behind me have just as much as I do. We deserve security. We deserve honesty from our government. How have cartels been permitted to act with impunity at our California border for so long? Why are immigration laws not being enforced? Why am I finding the identifications of young children and newborns at the border who are being smuggled and trafficked here on a daily basis? Many of these children come here unaccompanied. This is because the cartels have realized that they can profit through the failed federal government's Office of Refugee Resettlement Program that delivers children to unvetted sponsors that are part of a transnational criminal organization. While on the border, my team located an abandoned cell phone. We accessed the cell phone and discovered it was from someone who traveled from Wuhan, China to San Gabriel, California. I found around 40 different chat groups via an app on the phone that provide instructions on how to get smuggled into the US. The most prominent chat groups are Chinese, but my team has infiltrated Russian, Ukrainian, Azerbaijan, and other Middle Eastern chats as well. The chats do not stop. They run 24/7. They contain a treasure trove of intelligence information. This research has led to chats that are associated with a sophisticated network of CCP operatives working in our country. In addition to coordinates to infiltrate the border, I've discovered detailed information on our country's nuclear posture. My team and I have discovered many cases of sexual assault at the border. The cartels are so emboldened that they leave what they call trophies that depicts the sexual exploitation they are responsible for along the route they smuggle migrants. I have seen it firsthand. My research has uncovered that children who speak a different language arrive with parents who speak a different language that they have. My research has also discovered a case where a Guatemalan national with a counterfeit visa sexually assaulted the child of a local Navy SEAL. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah. It's no bueno, obviously.
So the only reason I have that information is because of the fusion center. This guy's name was Jose Confessor. He's a Guatemalan national. He was here on counterfeit visa, like I said. And so being in the Army, I was never at a place where you would live on base housing off post. Did you ever do that?
Yeah. No. They have that at Bragg, but no, I never lived in that on base off post housing.
So here, they ran out of room a long time ago. So they have these whole like communities outside of the base, but it's still base housing. The
Right.
MPs or whatever the Navy MPs, I forget, MAs, I think, they'll patrol through it. So yeah, this guy actually went into the house 2 separate times and sexually assaulted this Navy SEAL's daughter. Wasn't in the news originally. Finally, it was, but they never said anything about him being an illegal alien. Never talked about it.
Of course not.
So originally I thought, okay, well, if I can find this information out, then the news should be able to, but come to find out they're worthless. The only reason I knew was because one of the guys on wasn't really a raid, but let's just call it a raid, who got him, shops in my store. So he told me about it originally. Then about, I don't know, 6-8 months later, I get a call from someone from one of the federal agencies that asked me to leak that story because they were so pissed off that they couldn't do anything about it because of the sanctuary laws. That's why it was never released. So if you do a FOIA request to find immigration status, it'll get denied every time. That's how stupid this stuff is. The city of El Cajon is actually suing the state over the sanctuary policies right now. So America First Policy Institute, it's a bunch of lawyers basically. They are at the forefront of this and doing the work to sue the state over the policies. I met with them when I was in Washington. I took one of their attorneys out to the border when he was here. This was just a few months ago, and it was an eye opener to him. But what's interesting is the reason that the reason behind the lawsuit is CBP came to the city of El Cajon and said, hey, we have this list of unaccompanied alien children, basically, that we want to go check and a welfare check, right? And then the police said, that's immigration related. We can't do that. They asked if they would help do it because it was in their city, and the CBP was a little busy. So
Right.
City of El Cajon's like, let me send a letter to the state and see what they say. Basically said, absolutely not. That's immigration related, and you can't do that. So now they have these kids somewhere in the city of El Cajon that have never been checked on. So the city and the city council and the mayor got together and said, yeah, we're gonna sue the state over this. We need to make sure these kids are okay.
Right. It's so insane. It's just like, again, it's the boogeyman in the closet that like no one wants to talk about, but it's the thing that's actually affecting Americans and and children. And then it's so frustrating to hear like stories about that. I do want to bring this one up. This is a little bit off topic because this is obviously about Lebanon and the new leader of Syria. What are both your thoughts on Trump suggesting to send al-Jilani into Lebanon? We all know his background, but wanted to hear your thoughts on it being a well-known terrorist. Yeah, Ahmed al-Shara, that was his name before he picked Jilani. He was a al-Qaeda terrorist. I am upset that he's even in the mix. He came to the White House, that he's any type of leadership in Syria. Absolutely, I do not want to see him go into Lebanon because people like him wouldn't, again, like, think of this as from like a moralistic standpoint, right? If you're like a good guy and you want to go in and stop the bad guys, which are terrorists in Lebanon, Hezbollah is a terrorist organization that is a proxy of Iran. You want to go stop them, maybe some thought process is, hey, let's send this other terrorist that is a different kind of terrorist that doesn't like them and let them kill each other. The problem with that thought process is that when you send a terrorist in to kill other terrorists, they're going to exploit the situation in any way that they can, right? Or they're going to try to take power in any way that they can. So it's essentially like you can't trust this person or this group to do this. So like, why would you give them the power or the wherewithal to do it? Is my thought process on that all. So a little bit off topic, but I wanted to get that because it was moving down the comment list a little bit. I do want to kind of ask, let's talk about what surveillance photos from like found some stuff from military bases or other sensitive government sites in some of the stuff that you've found or you've picked up and gotten from the border. And because I think that's another thing people don't realize is like these people are here, they're all part of an op, basically, of an operation that they've been trained to do certain things.
The Chinese threat is so much bigger than I think anyone truly understands. They're here. They are watching and feeding information. It's an information pipeline. They're just sending back to China every day. During World War II, there was a Japanese dentist that would just, it's the 1,000 grains of sand, right? So there, one grain of sand is nothing, but when China can take 1,000 grains of sand, they can paint a very good picture. So this Japanese dentist was sending information back to Japan just on ship movements, and not even movements. I think it was just, hey, that ship's not here. It's as simple as that. But if you have, I'm not confusing China and Japan. I'm just using an example.
Right.
If you have one Chinese guy and his job is just to take a picture of San Diego Bay every day, well, that means nothing. He's just taking pictures of San Diego Bay. Then you got another one over by the sub base, take a picture of that. And then you have, I think we're at like almost 200,000 came through during the Biden administration. That is a lot of grains of sand that can paint a very good picture. There are base incursions nearly every day from foreign people. No, I don't even gonna say nearly every day. Every day. At one point, one of the federal agents that I met with said one of the bases here was 4 to 6 a day. Now that could be a group of Italians taking a wrong turn and ended up at the gate, right? Or that could
Right.
be a Chinese guy flying a drone over Naval Air Station. But one is too many, and our counter UAS inside the country is god awful.
Yep.
We see them the drones come across the border when we're out there. They don't even need to use the fiber stuff because
they're not trying to jam them or anything at all.
I don't want to get too much into it.
Yeah.
We need since we're in the United States, you can't use, I just saw an article, I think it was today, about a plane crash, a medevac plane that crashed, and the military was using GPS jamming at the same time. So there's just way too many liabilities to use counter UAS stuff within the United States. But the counter to that is we're going to be slaughtered. Just seeing these videos come out of Russia and Ukraine.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, people. I don't think people even realize what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. They don't realize like Ukraine has legit. I think the last it was like 113,000 confirmed drone kills confirmed by video footage. So it's not just like hey, we're pretty sure we killed this dude. It's like no, we have drone footage of us like right into 113,000 Russian soldiers, and we know they're all dead or seriously injured. Right? I guess there's the chance that they survived the initial blast, but they're maimed to the point where they're no longer in the fight.
And we know that CJ&G cartel has sent members to Ukraine to learn the drone tradecraft, I guess you would call it.
Yep. I mean, they don't even have to send them that far because you have the Hezbollah link in South America. I
think it's more north than that now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, there's probably a reason that they're looking at Cuba. So I don't know. But I mean, it's all over. It's all over South America. And that I don't think people realize the threat that exists with drones alone. I mean, you think you're worried about somebody just cooking off a dirty bomb or whatever it may be at like a sporting event or whatnot, but think about a couple thousand drones that were smuggled in from one avenue or another over months and months and months, or even years. Right? It could have came over years and in pieces and then put back together into the United States, and then coordinating attack that way on multiple different levels. It would create so much chaos and so much. It would be really bad. I don't think people understand how how real that threat is.
True terrorism in the sense that people would be terrorized. People wouldn't leave their house.
Yeah.
We kind of glossed over something that's important, the rape trees. I don't know if you heard that in my testimony there. Have you heard of those, or you know what that is?
No.
So you ever been to a bar where the bras are up on the wall? It's kind of like that.
No, I've never been to anywhere like that.
So these cartel members, so 8 out of 10, some other studies say 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 women are sexually assaulted on their journey to the United States, which blows my mind that the left thinks that it's all just sunshine and rainbows on the way here. It's horrible, the stuff that happens to these people. But anyway, 8 out of 10 women are sexually assaulted. The cartel members will take their bras and underwear and they will put them as trophies on these trees. Where I live, we don't really have trees; they're bushes. So they'll just be like one big bush with the bras and underwear all over it. I don't have a picture up right now, but they were all over. They're all over the southern border, Texas. I think they started in Texas, and then towards the end, we started seeing them here. People would clean them up, the farmers and ranchers, but it's just disgusting. What else was I going to tell you? Oh, we work with a lot of other people, like I said, throughout the country. Sarah Adams is one of them. She'll message occasionally and say, "Hey, do you have any?" She'll give me a name and ask me to run it and see if we have anything on that person. But the network is just massive. I would really like to get Sarah to the border so she can see it, because you and I, if you came over here right now, we could go fill up a like a Target bag in probably an hour. Still, the people just don't understand the vastness of the border area. It's massive.
Yeah, I mean, just in Southern California.
Yeah, yep. I was out there yesterday. Long story, but I just went out there, and on this road that I was on for probably, I don't know, an hour, dirt road, I pulled over to pee twice. I found a cell phone each time I pulled over. I wasn't even looking.
Wow.
We still don't have a mechanism to have some kind of task force look into this stuff. We don't have the scanner guys, right? I don't have the scanner guys. The government doesn't have the scanner guys. And then once you get it scanned, we don't have a mechanism to go after these people, just because everyone is so overloaded with what their current job is.
Right.
So we're trying to fill that gap, but as my mother would say, I'm only one woman.
It's so true. I mean, we were talking in a space the other day about like why haven't we been doing anything about like the Neville Singham and these other operations that they've been proven that they're happening, right? There's people getting paid by foreign money to push not only just propaganda but also like direct action, either protests or counter protests to things. It's all foreign money that's pushing them. And, why don't we have something that's interdicting that? And the problem is just that the federal government is so far behind. All the federal agencies are so far behind, and then they've all been pigeonholed and then caught up in so much bureaucracy that there's just like no way to make these work. And it's to the point now where it's like, we need some, just good old fashioned everyday Americans that can stand up and just like you did and start some things and then be like, hey, look, this is what I have built. This is what we can do. Now, like, bring some of these different groups together into a task force and like, you don't even have to deputize those people, right? Just get them to where they can get the information to somebody who can then, cut that workload, in half or in a quarter and actually make a difference here, because there's so many different avenues that we're being attacked on that just most people are even unaware of. And that's what's kind of insane about all of this. And hopefully people kind of wake up at some point.
We're setting the groundwork, or we've set the groundwork for this, exactly what you just said to happen, right? What's funny, you mentioned the badge, right? Or deputized. Originally, I was like, man, it would be so cool to somehow get deputized with this stuff. And then I could have a regular AR in California. That was just my.
That's all you want.
Yeah. And then as time went by, I'm thinking, I'm talking to the guys. I'm like, we can do way more without a badge than we could with a badge. We have not that we're doing vigilante stuff, I've worked very hard to make sure that people don't think we are some vigilante organization with rifles slung and wearing camo and putting people in cuffs. We gather information, and sometimes we will happen to come across people out there, but we don't put hands on them.
Right.
We can get to the people who need to be called quickly, especially now that we have Starlink, which is another monthly expense. So monthly donations help.
Monthly donations help, guys.
They're big. It helps me not worry every month where the money's going to come from. For basically fuel and Starlink are the two constants, right?
Yep.
What was I talking about?
Since you have the Starlink, getting in contact with the dudes that can actually help or do things.
It's much quicker than having a badge and having to go through policies, procedures, protocols, and stuff like that. We have our own, but I don't have a chain of command,
right?
Which is doesn't seem like a big deal, but it does. Now I do in a way, right? I'm not going to just go to the sector chief or something and go above everybody's head, but I know who to call versus having to go through some 10 people and get to the third person and they never call the fourth guy.
Right.
One of the hardest change I called a phone number when I found those cell phones. I called a number. This was in an area that we don't go too often. I just needed to be over there for some reason. And I called a number of a guy that I met about a year ago. He was the intel guy in that area. His phone number doesn't work anymore. It's just constant. So the locals pick up on that and they're like, well, then what the fuck do you want me to do?
Yep.
I try to help. I'm just not going to call. It's easier to just, not get killed by the cartel and look the other way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's another thing. The reason the cartel operates the way they operate is because the fear factor, especially for people in, South and Central America, the fear factor is just the main thing. I mean, you don't want to be hanging from a bridge someday, as a message to everybody else. And not having the teeth, from the government aspect to push back on that, that's a problem. Not having the information, you're helping in that avenue. But, obviously there's so much more. Like, you pull over twice and to pee and you find 2 cell phones. Like, that's insane. It's wild. The whole concept of this, I think, is just beyond what most people even think is reality.
That's not normal, right? I don't know. That doesn't normally happen, but it's an area that we don't hit. So it was interesting that it was just that rich in intel. And sometimes weird things like that will happen, right? And then we'll go back and we don't find anything else. Or maybe we go back and we find a ton of stuff. I think that area is probably pretty target rich because of where it is and how not very many people have access back there. So we will go back. It's just a time thing. In these Telegram chats that we've gotten into, they are, I started to hit on it. These people will take pictures of things, but we have pictures of Tesla. Sorry, I was reading the thing. We have pictures of the Tesla and SpaceX bases up, Air Force bases, critical infrastructure like police departments, just so many pictures. And if you were looking through my camera roll on my phone, you wouldn't see a picture of a police station, right?
No.
Like, even if I'm in another country, because maybe it's really cool, it looks different. Okay, that would make sense. But if it's just a regular police station, or a power map of the power grid, all this stuff is within these chats, and it really needs to be a task force because we need cyber. There's just so
all
much
aspects.
Yeah.
Let's read Texas Motherboard. So, is Cory familiar with Anthony Aguero and Oscar Ramirez, who were documenting the border invasion daily all the way from the Darien Gap? Ben Burkham worked with him also.
I am. I'm familiar with all of them. Ben, I think, was just here in San Diego, actually.
Nice.
Ben has a funny video back to how many illegals are actually in the country. Ben was on a ride along with somebody, and they pulled over an illegal alien. And while they're on the side of the road, there's an accident, looky-loo accident. So they go over to check. That's an illegal alien.
Of course. Of course it is. Oh, dude. Yeah. I mean, back to, so, with the sensitive site pictures of, whatever police stations, like that's all part of tradecraft. That's all part of, intelligence gathering. That's all part of what would be considered an operation, so anybody who's been familiar with that level of either, intelligence gathering, if we go into a country somewhere, some of the CCIRs that would be put forward, and for those of you who don't know, look that up later, but some of the critical, intelligence requirements that might be needed might be pictures of certain things. So when, Cory here finds a phone and it has that in here, then that means that that person is being handled to photograph that sensitive information to send it back. And that's for target packages. That's for, intelligence briefings. That's for what we would, building all kinds of different things that are not good for the United States, obviously. So I think that's important. I just wanted to kind of touch on that because it's important for people to understand how that literally proves that they're not just here. Again, not everybody that crosses the border is necessarily an intelligence operative, but you don't have to be an intelligence operative. This is what we call an asset, right? An asset would just be someone like Cory, when you talked about it earlier, just go take a picture of the bay every day. And then, or you just go take a picture of this every day and then send it. And then we monitor the changes from that. That's all part of an operation. So it's important people understand that.
These Telegram chats are just full of this stuff. It is. I'm looking through some pictures to show you. And then there will just be random addresses and stuff in there that doesn't mean anything to you or I, but there's no context with them.
Right. But you feed all of that data into a system that can analyze it. Then now you might get a pop back, and then you have what's now considered intelligence. That's another thing people don't understand is like intelligence you don't just pick it up and you're like, oh, this is intelligence, right? Like intelligence is just information that has been vetted and then, categorized in one way or another as significant because of the vetting that is done on it. So that's a huge process. That's a lift. That's why, like, when you hear someone's like, they're a CIA analyst, like, what does that actually mean? It means they're literally just combing through information and linking it to other information, which then makes it intelligence.
So on the ground,
but
no. So on the ground, I'm just picking up trash. Once we do something with it, then it turns into intel, right?
Intelligent, yes. We got here from Forrest. Let me read this. Does them taking out Trin de Aragua leader and drug boats make a difference, or is it theater?
I think it all helps.
Yeah, I mean, it always. So I did a post back before the whole Israel thing became a thing that just takes over all of the discourse these days. When we were interdicting, all the different drug, the boats and the terrorists or the narco terrorists, we're calling them, that were moving, through our waters or through international waters or whatever it may be. Taking out those boats is significant because when you do things like that, it requires the organizations, the cartels, the people that are doing this stuff to move and to mobilize and to change things. Now their supply chain is disrupted in this way, or whatever. They've lost people as well, which is important to remember, because a lot of times, like the losses in drugs being interdicted by law enforcement in the United States, that's built into their whole cost profile from a cartel standpoint. They know they're going to lose X% of drugs to law enforcement interdiction every month or every year, or, whatever. They have that all broken down, and then they build that into the entire process. But what makes it a lot harder is when parts of their supply chain and then people that are involved in critical parts of their supply chain get either killed or interdicted, then they have to shift and they have to make new moves. And now that allows say if they're being monitored, then that allows to see, oh, now they just opened up this avenue because we closed this one over here. And so it's actually very important for sure. You had something you want to let this put another movie up or a show up? Sorry.
Yeah,
Video
goes with the intel that we were talking about. 2342.
Yep.
That's all travel documents. Still there.
Wow. Yeah. Just piles of it, just hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think of the amount of intelligence that would once that all is analyzed would be a part of that. I mean, if you could get everything scanned in, right? You had the manpower and the computing power to do it. You're talking about data that could change the way you look at everything coming through. I mean, how many people are you linking into this network at this point, and then being able to interdict later? It's a treasure trove, and we haven't been able to. And I mean, I didn't even know this existed. I mean, I knew you were doing some work, but I didn't know to the level and the extent that this is happening.
It is so much bigger than anyone can even believe, and that's why I have to believe that a lot of people within the government have just written this off, because whose job is it? You mentioned intel requirements. That's important. What were the intel requirements during the invasion of the United States of America during the Biden administration? I don't think anybody believed it was an invasion, so I don't think there were any intel requirements. For a long period of time, China wasn't even on the special interest alien list.
Yeah,
it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense.
Well, if you go back and look at Obama's national defense strategy and national the NSS and NDS, national security strategy, strategic strategy, I don't know, whatever. If you look at those, China, like, it's all about and this was all kind of carryovers from the Bush administration as well, but it was all interdicting and dealing with the GWAT terrorists, all the way across the sea. Very little to do about great peer competition, and very little worry about Russia, China, Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, these other countries that have a lot of, different things happening in America. And really, one of the things that kind of opened my eyes on that is when Trump took over in 16. So his NDS and NSS that came out, I think they came out in 17, maybe 2017, maybe one of them 17, the other one in 18. But they actually brought back the great peer competition. Like, hey, we actually need to start looking back at China and at Russia and at Iran and what they're doing on the world stage, because we're missing so much. Like, we're just completely ignoring these problem sets.
There's the what is that? 20. Oh, they all say that. The one where it looks like there's a group of people in the middle of it. The video. The third one. Yeah, this is the one I was looking for earlier. I didn't have it in there. So this is how easy it is to cross. You can watch and check it out. So I just got the drone up, and so that the guy to the left that's running back is a cartel member. He just took a proof of life picture to get his money, I'm assuming. And now these people are going to just run around the side of the wall here. See all the papers up at the top right? That was that video that we just looked at a minute ago. That's you can kind of tell now.
They're just tossing all their stuff.
So they're just tossing them right there. And that's it. That's the wall right there.
Dude,
We just walk
so
up and
wild.
around. And then the thermal video. So finally, we get a thermal drone from donations from myself and the guys.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you
very
for your
happy
contribution.
that I'm still married through all of this. My wife knew it was important as well, so I'm thankful.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
this is a video of, like I said earlier, those people that just crossed in the previous video. Now they're going to go to the train tracks. Here's the train tracks, and this railroad doesn't run anymore. But they're just, I mean, that's just insane. Every night for years, just lines of people walking down the train tracks.
God. People have no idea. There's so many. If you were to just like go up to a random American on the street and be like, do you think that there are lines of people still today crossing the border and then just walking across, getting on a train track and walking into a civilization into the United States every day? And they would be like, no, absolutely not.
So this is during the Biden administration, this video.
Oh, that was Biden? Okay.
Yeah, sorry. And then the video 4892. This is how brazen they are. They just do it right in front of you. They just went over on the ladder. Yeah. I mean, what other country can you do that in where you don't get shot?
You can't. You can't do it in. I mean, try to go sneak into Russia, see what happens. You know, try to go sneak into China.
Back to the phone stuff. So in one of the chats, there were pictures that someone had taken and upload. It was like a kind of like a Chinese Craigslist, and we would screenshot this stuff in there. And there was I think I put it in my my written testimony. I can't remember. But there was a recruitment ad for 3 spies, Chinese spies in San Gabriel, just right out in the open. Now, it was in Mandarin, right? I imagine that they don't think we have very many Mandarin speakers, readers, writers in this country who are actually working in the IC capacity. And
Right.
I imagine that they're probably correct, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, so languages are, everyone Green Berets go through language training before they actually get sent to their groups. And this all kind of depends on the area of operations for the group that you're going to be going to. People don't realize that we don't have enough time to get everybody, fluent in whatever language, fluent reading and writing and speaking. No, what generally happens is that you can read decently, usually can't write unless it's a Latin based language. Then sometimes you can get away with it. But if you're learning Cyrillic or if you're learning, Arabic, script, there's no way that you're going to get to where you can write that very well, or you can read some of it, right? And then speak it, you get maybe conversational in the time frame that you have, especially if it's one of the harder languages, which like Mandarin or Korean or Arabic would be considered, because they're just so different from our Latin-based languages. But I mean, that's another problem the intelligence community sees, because I mean, if you think about it, is the intelligence, is the NSA or is the CIA or whatever, can they trust? They can't trust someone of a foreign national, like Chinese person. Those would just be assets if they were going to be used in a certain way. They're not going to be like a case officer, or they're not going to be an analyst or someone that has a clearance, because if you really look into it, Chinese law dictates that every single Chinese citizen, whether they're in China or abroad, is an intelligence asset to China the second that they're asked, and they can be approached at any time. And they have to divulge whatever information that is being requested of them. And a lot of times they have family back home that would be then threatened if they did not, acquiesce. And so it's one of those things, is how do you get a lot of Mandarin speakers that aren't tied to China, and herein lies the problem, right? Because if you want to learn Mandarin and you want to get fluent in it where you can read and write it, it's going to take more than 6 months. I mean, it's going to probably take you a year to a year and a half, and maybe a little faster if you get some immersion training. But it's a legitimate problem for sure.
The immersion stuff is huge too. So you may be able to read and write, but you don't know that XYZ University is where the sheet metal guys come out of, right? And then,
Yep.
well, why is that important? Well, because then that sheet metal guy is taking a picture of the airframe at the base, and you would never have known that unless you were immersed in the culture. It's a very good point, and it brings up again the need for a civilian-based thing like we've created here, because I can use AI all day long, which is another monthly expense.
Monthly expense, guys.
I'm very bad at plugging it, and I feel like I've done a pretty good job this time.
No, I mean, guys, they need help. All right, they're doing great work. Even if you have $5, like every little bit helps. It's a very, very important thing.
It does, and I used to think that was so dumb when people would say that. Just donate $5 a month, but now I'm like, hey, if 100 of you would have done that, that would have been really helpful.
Yes.
So back to the AI thing. All of us are on our laptops all day long, making our systems better. So I'm not going to get too far into it, but we now have a program that we've created. The same dudes picking up trash at the border have now created a program that I can take our scan stuff in, and it will. I gotta come back up here. Sorry. So when we first started picking this stuff up, we were just picking it up and throwing it in a bag. Then somebody goes, "Hey, maybe we should do a better job cataloging." So then we started taking pictures, which had the metadata to geotag where it was from, right?
Right.
So those pictures now and I don't even have to scan them. I can put that picture into our system. That picture will read the whole ID or all of the passport stamps, which the one I showed you guys at the beginning, that took me forever. I actually sent it to a Green Beret friend who sent it to another guy who knew the language, because I couldn't get past the damn calendar that was different than the one that we used. I couldn't figure out what month was like. It was driving me insane.
Yep.
This was very early on before I started getting into Grok and everything else that we're now in.
Right.
So I sent it to him, and then he typed it out in Excel, each passport stamp for that huge list of things, which was great. I've never met the guy, but it was very helpful. If he's listening, thank you. So now we can take that, pick just the picture, put it in there. It will read everything. It will create an intel report based off of the dates on the stamps. What was happening in that country at the time of that stamp? Then it will take the geotag location and the date that we took the picture, say this was found right here. It'll put it on a map. Like I said, we have 4,000 something in there now, which if the government were to do this, they can't use AI, right? They have a very limited AI that they can use. So again, if you give me a badge, I lose like 90% of our capability.
Yep. And like I said, you don't need all of these people, helping, from the aspects that like you're helping, and some of the other people that are doing things to have, to be deputized or have badges. Like, actually don't want that. You want everyday Americans to stand up and do a little bit more, and then get that information to the right places. That's the hard part, honestly, because like you said earlier, before you had the links to DC, to the NCTC, and to some of these other links that you have, where did that information go? If you send it to a guy at the field office near you, then it gets lost in 1,000 reports and requests, and it's never going to get to where it needs to go. So that's very important, and hopefully the federal government and well, our state governments too. I don't know about California, but
We're screwed.
if you live in a if you live in a state that's not California or a few others, if you live in a state that requires voter ID law, we'll just put it that way, you could probably find a better coordination to get through some of these bureaucratic steps. But yeah, I mean, just moving through that in the federal government that's the hardest part. Just who do you get this information to a decision maker, because that's ultimately what you're looking for. Because like you said, you send it to a special agent. Now they have to go through a chain of all these different people. And what if one of the SAS, the special agent in charge, doesn't care about that, right? Like, what if they're like, this isn't actually part of what I've been tasked to do, so I'm just gonna leave this here and then not push it through.
We've ran into a few people like that, right? I will say that as a gun store owner, most of the feds that we've run into are way cooler than I expected, coming from a gun store owner. It's California DOJ that we worry about, but
yeah,
there's like 98% of them have been great, want to help, but there's no path. There's no path to work with a civil. There would be a path if I wanted to be a CI or something, right? But we can't do that. I have a team, and everyone helps. Everybody, it's a very small team, but they all help. They're all in on all of it. So we are trying to break through the glass. That sounds gay. Of being able to work with civilians on this stuff, because it's just a stupid glass ceiling that makes no sense. When we already put in our time in the service, we've all had clearances, and why do I need a clearance when for 4 years I was paying to do someone else's job to keep the country safe?
Right.
What clearance do I need? Is that not proof enough? I would have a lot more money right now if I sold this back to the governments that it came from.
Right. Well, and I mean, the clearance aspect of it, like the government deals with clearances. The government classifies things after the fact, right? Again, once it becomes,
it's not classified right now, but as soon as they get it, they classify it, and then I can't hear about it ever again.
Yeah. But and then the problem with the clearances, you have to have somebody like a sponsor that's then maintaining your clearance for whatever purposes that fit along with you having that clearance and the need to know and all this stuff. It becomes really difficult to deal with. I mean, that's actually one of the things, like when we're doing business development stuff with either people or companies that are trying to move into the military infrastructure and to like get involved in that kind of system. That's always an issue, is like now we have to figure out how to get this person, this dude who created this whatever system, we have to get him sponsored, but like by who? And then like where does it all fit in? Because at the end of the day, once the government takes either I don't want to say ownership, but once the government is using this system, then now they're going to classify it, right? Because that's the way the government works. They have to classify everything, which I get, but at the same time, it's just like, all right, like let's just move along here. We got stuff to do.
Ultimately, it's much easier for that person in charge to not deal with me, because if something minor happens, just whatever it is, something minor happens, then it's a blemish on their record, right? Whereas the opposite of that, is something major in a good way happens, maybe they get a gold star for the month, or they get a pizza party or something, right? It's not worth it. It's not worth it to put their career on the line. And again, bureaucracy just wins, because it's easier to sit there and just get to retirement than it is to work with a bunch of guys picking up trash. That's just the best way to put it, right? I mean, I know we've become way more than that, but when they go home and think about it at night, they're like, why would I put my career and my family and my mortgage on the line for this? What's it going to get me? And it's such an unfortunate way to look at things. We need to work through that and give these guys a better avenue, because I know it's not just me, it's not just TGI. There are organizations, not even organizations, there are people that want to help, that have done it in some capacity before, but they don't have a good avenue to, they're just throwing it against the wall to see if it'll stick. It's
Right.
not a good solution.
Yep. Well, and then you run into the problem that I've talked about this in numerous different streams and spaces, but the federal government, especially, I'm sure state governments are kind of similar in certain aspects, but the federal government, when you go into the GS employees, when you go, the who's actually running the departments of certain aspects of the FBI, of the CIA, whatever, whatnot, we're talking about, GS 13s to 15s that have positions that can't be taken away, and also getting, like, firing them is very, very difficult at that point, because they're, it's just a bureaucratic nightmare that most people didn't realize. I mean, when I was at SWIC during COVID, and SWIC is the training schoolhouse for, like, Green Berets, PsyOps, civil affairs, that it all kind of comes under that same umbrella.
I thought you
But
were
when I
talking
was there,
the Uber
huh?
for the SEALs.
No, those SWIC. So yeah, the boat teams. Yeah, so they're called SWIC as well. But in the GB world, SWIC is the schoolhouse for where they create GBs, and again, PSYOP and CA are also lumped into our little CMF, which is super cool. If there's any CA or PSYOP guys watching, sorry, I don't care if you're upset. But the point of all this was that they're, at SWIC, because it's a higher level command within SOF, there's a lot of GS employees that are involved in that. And there were GS employees that were, GS 13s that hadn't even logged into their email in 4 to 6 months. And so, like, we would need approvals for things. And these are the only people that could give us these approvals that are required, because you have civilian, they try to mix it between military leadership, civilian leadership, so that it's supposed to create, a more, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Like, genuine environment, whatever. And
Diverse.
diverse. And these people weren't even logging into their emails, because they didn't have to come to work. So they were supposed to be working from home, but none of them were. They weren't even logging in. And it got to the point where, like, we had to go to the commander of SWIC and be like, hey, like, these are the processes that we're supposed to go to get this approved, and we cannot get it approved because we can't get these signatures from these people that haven't logged in 4 to 6 months. What do we do? And they had to, like, completely redo. They couldn't fire them. Like, they could, but the process to fire them now is going to take another month or two. So it's just a nightmare. So when you think about, the breadth of the DOD alone, or DOW, or the FBI, or any of these other federal organizations they are ran by these GS 13s to 15 level government employees. They have immense amounts of power. And just like you said, they, like, if something hits their desk and they're like, this is risky, it won't help me move up, and it could actually damage my career or my legacy, and I'm not going to touch it. And then they just, either they slow roll it, they move it, it's never going to get seen again, or whatever. That's a huge problem. And I mean, how do you fix that? Like, how do you fix 50 years of bureaucratic bloat, beyond firing everybody?
I didn't have an answer for that until I created the solution. You got to outsource it. This border problem would be solved if there's private contractors.
You're right.
And I know that because there's a little bit of a test case study going on right now. The people that are protecting the guys building the wall, the construction workers, so the contractors, they have
Right.
contracted with basically private security companies. And I've made this is not a joke, it's true, but made this joke on another podcast I was on. We've got chatter from the South that do not try to cross if you see men with beards. Yeah.
Yep.
Go to the clean shaven guys.
Yep. Well, we would when we were in Afghanistan, we would get ICOM chatter, from the guys, and they would be like, before, like they would have an ambush laid in, and then we would be moving towards wherever they had their ambush laid in, and we'd hear over their ICOM be like, no, 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 we are not going. These are the bearded ones, and they like would, like our Terps would be telling us all this stuff, and we're just like laughing, like, yeah,
It's
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of universal.
yeah, you can try to ambush us, but we're gonna actually we're not the dudes that are gonna sit in our trucks and just like take RPGs. We're gonna dismount, we're gonna maneuver, and we're gonna kill all of you. So, have fun with that. But it is what it is. So it's kind of funny that that's happening on the border as well, which is
And those guys are all former, we're in San Diego, so a lot of them are SWIC or King guys,
yeah,
MARSOC guys.
SEALs.
Yeah, they're a little far from the water, but they figure.
I don't have any animosity towards SEALs, actually. It's a common little thing where we'll joke back and forth of stuff. But I will say that the SEALs, when I was in the Delta course, were the ones that got us smoked way more than anybody else, because they already had the trident, so they just thought they could do whatever they wanted. We're all like when the guys at the medical route, for the 18 Deltas going through SF training, we're not Green Berets yet. We're like, this is part of our pipeline, and we have to finish this, and then we still have other things we have to finish before we actually become Green Berets. So we're all like still terrified of like, especially I was an X-ray, which is I came straight in, went through basic infantry OSUT, airborne, and then the prep course, and then selection, and then into the Q course. And for those of us that were X-rays, like we, the big army is a great unknown that we didn't want to deal with. So when we're in there, we're like, we're minding our P's and Q's, because we don't want to find out what the big army wants out of us. So, but the SEALs, again, they didn't care. I still remember one time we were in like formation, waiting for whatever reason before classes started that day, and one of the SEALs had a honey bun, and he threw it at one of the cadre, and we got smoked that day. We got smoked so bad that day, to the point where like dudes were shitting on themselves, like as we're getting smoked. Like there's like multiple dudes, and this is right in front of our like schoolhouse too. And like the first sergeant or someone came out and was like, dude, y'all got to stop. Like they have to go and get showered and come back, because if the wrong person walks in and sees this, like we're all in big trouble. We're like, yeah, but thank God. So, but yeah, SEALs.
It's interesting that they give them the trident before they put them through a school like that, right?
Yeah, so they have their own pipeline now for the medics, the corpsmen that are going to be SEALs. They don't go through SOCM anymore. At least they didn't for the last few years. I know they were talking about bringing them back into the pipeline, which it's called NCTC, the Joint Special Operations Medical Training. And the PA Air Force, they used to go to that school as well, and now they have their own. And then SEALs, and I think the boat guys still go through the SOCM though. I think it's just the SEALs have their own medical pipeline now for it. So maybe they do it before they get the trident now. But yeah, when they were coming, which is like what 2000, this is like 2011, 2012. They were still in our pipeline for that, but it was after their, like, again, they got their trident, they did all their stuff, and then they came to the medical course after that.
Now they just have to be special and have their own, I guess. So
yeah.
All right, what else we got? So we're able to use our program that we made to detect patterns. There's some stuff that, like we talked about before, there's stuff that I would love to talk about that's very exciting, but I can't give it away. Hopefully we'll be able to soon. There's actually a big operation in San Diego soon that will be a big deal that people should look out for. It'll be the biggest one that we've been involved in since we started, and I don't know, I want to go any more into that, but in the next like month or so, just keep an eye out for what we've been working on. But we're able to use this program to detect patterns of life in a way, of the gotaways, and then where they're going, where they're ending up, and hopefully we're able to let our network know to catch them before they get too far. But we've also used this program to detect patterns of who's going where using what documents. What the hell does that mean? So we saw that a lot of Chinese people were going to Nepal to get, I don't really know how you explain this, to get a Nepalese passport. So it's a real passport. So is that counterfeit? It's real, but
Hmm.
they shouldn't have one because they're not Nepalese.
Right.
And then we saw the same thing with people coming out of Afghanistan going to Turkey to get passports.
Hmm.
So we started looking for things that, again, guys picking up trash didn't know about until we started putting all of the data together, basically what China's doing to us. We started putting it all together, and now we're using AI to just come up with stuff that we had no idea. So we constantly have to go back and go, wait, let's go look at that again because we didn't even think about this.
Hmm.
And like Claude or even Grok in the terminal now, it can just get you so much information. I'm an information overload. I thought I was before just by having the physical stuff, and now
Right.
it's just I have no idea where we're at. We've been working with a guy that we talked a little bit about, and I don't know, maybe you have him on your show later. He's been able to get some documents for us from Open API, which I'm a Black Hawk crew chief and I own a gun store. What the hell does that even mean, right? Well, now I
Right.
know. The API is something that you have on your website that it's supposed to not be open. But if it's open and you have somebody like this guy, his name is Ringmaster, walk through that door, he can pull all kinds of stuff out of your website. Let's say it's your work website and you have all your Excel spreadsheets and your construction. You have all your bids and all that stuff on there, your contact, your
Right.
customer list. Now he has all of it, but you're not a construction company in this scenario. You're a country like Mexico or China. So all of that immigration data that he's been able to pull, we're able to put that in this system that we need a server because we're doing it on an old laptop with a bunch of hard drives. Because I don't want to spend money on a server or more hard drives. I'm just tired of spending money. I feel like the government should be spending the money, and I'm tired of doing it. But I'm also trying to build these packages to give to the government,
Right.
and we're helping them use. There's a lot of things that they're not doing along the border that I don't know if they're thinking of on boots on the ground level, like signal stuff. We can see these guys, good guys, from a long way away without even seeing them. We can see their signals, and
Right.
something we've been bringing up to them recently is if we can see them, then the bad guys can see them. We've got to have some better SOPs when you're working along the border. We've got the Marines out there right now on the Otai side, and
Hmm.
I saw them yesterday. There's a Army Black Hawk that was exfilling them. I guess they're out there for overnight. I don't know what they were doing, but it is kind of a cluster, as you can imagine, with people with different radios and not communicating the best. But it is 1,000 times better than when Biden was in office. That's for sure. There's still a lot
Right.
of room for improvement.
Milo just bringing all the bangers tonight. Doesn't this sound exactly like the kind of shit Elon would like to fund if he knew about it? Hey,
Call him,
anybody
please.
got, yeah, who's got a direct line? Let's go.
I feel like
Hopefully
I feel like
there's
I've been on.
1,200 people on X right now watching this. So let's put some feelers out, like
How
something's
should
got to
we
give.
pitch it to him? Hey, Elon, we could use your help on the border. My organization has been using signals to find things, and we think that you could do a lot more than just a couple guys.
Bro, y'all could do a Starlink commercial because y'all use Starlink, and how Starlink is assisting in securing our border.
Yeah,
Boom.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's a good
Now
idea.
you gotta add for Starlink, which helps, Elon and SpaceX, and then now I don't know, maybe we'll see, so maybe it's a smart idea. We'll have to
That's
talk
been
about that.
such a game changer with the Starlink, being able to communicate. We even have one on a little we can take it on and off because we have dirt bikes that we'll take out sometimes, or I have a Can-Am that we'll take out. So one of them is easy to take on and off the vehicles, and we'll move that one around. But it hooks to a Milwaukee battery, and it'll last
Okay.
most of the day. But we can bring a
Right.
couple batteries, so I could put it on one of the guys on the backpack if they're out walking around further than radio distance. We don't really have big trees out here, so it's not a problem. It's high desert mostly. But
Yeah.
Starlink has been a game changer.
Cat? I can't say the whole kitty be good. Worried about who Canada let in and how easy it is to potentially sneak in from up there into Michigan or Vermont or wherever.
Yeah, I've got a video for you on that.
Oh,
What do you think about that, though? Let's hear it while I find the video.
Well, I mean, we know for a fact that the fentanyl crossings in the southern border dropped when Trump, really when he won, before he even actually took office, and they rerouted a lot of their supply chain to go through Canada because the northern border was just a little bit easier and less, they knew it was going to be less scrutinized. So I definitely think I think we've overlooked a lot of issues that are coming from Canada, and so that's absolutely something that we should be worried about. So I don't know if what you have heard about the Canadian border, but and the Canadian ties to the CCP should have everybody very, very concerned as well.
More than very concerned. Cory
Yes.
Gautereaux. I'm here in Idaho, up at the northern border. If you look, and you can see a skinny little cut. That's the U.S.-Canadian border. Much different than what we're dealing with down in San Diego, but still a problem. Let's go check it out. And what a vast contrast it is between here and what we see on the south. Seems like it's a very similar playbook, but a much different terrain. What we noticed is if you look on Google Earth at the southern border, you can see the game trails, or actually human trails, of where human smugglers and coyotes come through. You can't see that here. It's nearly impossible to see where these people come through. And the terrain is treacherous, a different kind of treacherous than what we're used to in San Diego. And something that we don't see on the southern border. Check out this sign right here. Electric fence. We don't see that on the southern border. So down south, we've documented many different things where different cartels come through, the routes they take, how they use them, using drones, using their intelligence, all sorts of things. It's very similar to here. But what we notice and what we found through the numbers is when the government puts a chokehold on the South, then this is where they start bringing people through. Special interest aliens, including Chinese, are coming through our northern border. I wish I just had a video ready to go for all the questions.
Hey, that actually worked out really well. It's like that one was planned, but it wasn't.
No, it was. I was ready to plan.
Totally planned. Yeah, totally ready. Totally ready to go.
I am much more active on Instagram, just because that's where I started.
Right.
It took me a while to get going on X, but I have a lot more videos on Instagram, like that one.
Is it same handle?
Yeah, same. The Cory Goat, and then Goat Initiative on X, and the Goat Initiative on Instagram. That's another full-time job.
Dude, I'd tell you, like, so I started on X, and X is like the platform for me that got big, and then so now I'm trying to get into these other ones, and it's just such a pain to get all these other ones going, and then you're trying to like I tell you what, AI has made it a lot easier because I found a AI that will take the shows I do, it'll clip it out for me, and give me a bunch of different options, and then I can post to all the socials from there, and that makes it way easier, than trying to edit video, which I'm terrible at. Like, you don't realize the things that you're really, really bad at until you like try them, and it takes you like I'm sure there's some people that can edit, they can edit some videos in a few minutes and boom, they look great and they're awesome. I'll be sitting here for like 3 hours and just losing my mind and being terrible at it. So, AI helps in a lot of different ways. Not gonna lie.
It's hard to do the videos yourself too, because you want it to be perfect, but then you don't know what perfect looks like.
Right.
The ones that I kind of just treat not half-assed, but the ones that I'm not too proud of, those always do way better than the ones I put the extra time in.
I just went, so dude, for so long I was trying to do videos. Like I'd come up with an idea, like, okay, this is how I'm gonna maybe either memorize or just like keep to a, not necessarily a script, but just like keep to talking points. And I would record and like 40 different times and find something wrong with everyone. And they'd be like, I'm not posting that. Now I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it live, because then it doesn't matter. Like if I make a oopsie here, like, oh, well, we're live. Like, yeah, it's fine. Not a big deal. I can't delete this. So here we are.
I like the live as well. And I really like when people ask questions, because sometimes people ask things that I haven't really thought of. So then I can start focusing that way, especially podcasts like yours, where people are listening who actually did something like this back in the day. They will give me a lot of really good feedback, or a lot of really bad feedback that I needed to hear, right? Which I'm happy to hear. So tell me that too, please. I'm all ears. What we can do to figure this stuff out.
You got so Milo again. Let's see. Trump's new implementing schedule policy career in the accepted service executive order was signed exactly to solve that. So this is back when we were talking about the GS stuff. GS bureaucracy snafu, letting all us fire those dudes. Well, that's great. So that was, and he said that was passed earlier this month. Fantastic. I didn't know that. That's great. Stuff like that's very important. I don't think people will understand how bogged down the GS system made our federal government in all different aspects. So it's good to hear that, at least.
I was just checking my email. Milo emailed me. I don't see anything.
Rude. Milo, give him an email. Text Mother Bird. I remember the invasion. BP said for every one illegal caught, there were 3 to 5 getaways. Unacceptable. We don't know who's in our country.
Based on some of the data that we have, that the United States government does not have, I've tried to share it with them, but we're like I said, we're working on that part. But I think that it's probably 30%. I think the number is 30%.
Wow. I mean, it's insane. Yep.
Some people think it's 50. People that work in San Diego, at least. I just don't want to believe that it's 50. I guess that would be horrible,
dude. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know. It's just one of those things. Again, even those of us in the know a little bit, right? You're far more in the know than I was on this, but even though I knew that there were still issues, like seeing the breadth and scope of all this is just, it's eye-opening. It's something, hopefully people can help for sure.
It's hard to turn a moving ship this big. I equate CBP kind of like big army, right? Same thing. To try to change the trajectory of something that large takes a lot of time, and unfortunately, this country doesn't have that time. We don't have time to waste on this stuff. But during the Biden administration, we lost a ton of good guys retired because they didn't want to put up with what they were seeing, right? And then a lot of the guys in the middle went to just lateral. Like I make fun of our ATF agent because he was Border Patrol and now he's ATF. And I said, so it was that bad? You had to join ATF?
Right.
And then, so now we have a very, very green Border Patrol And I wish we would lean on the, again, going back to the GWAT guys. I wish we would lean on the GWAT guys. And
I mean,
the Border Patrol guys to come back and train these dudes.
well, so the hard part, and this is, again, it is what it is. Like we have, we have extensive networks of dudes, and not to say that they wouldn't like to help, right? Because there's dudes that absolutely would like to help, but again, almost everybody has a mortgage, has kids that they got to pay for, and so when there's not money involved, it becomes really difficult for them to get involved when they could, they're doing kind of the same thing, but in the private contractor world where they're getting paid, and finally getting paid. I mean, when you're active duty, you're not making any money, and so you get this skill set, and then how do you use it? And a lot of these guys would even take a pay cut to do it, but there still has to be some money involved, and so
how nice would it be for soft guys to have a stateside private contract? So that's what's happening right now with the contractors that are looking after the equipment and the guys building the wall, right? So
right.
I've brought this up to tons of guys. I haven't heard anybody say no. Now I imagine the pay would be less than OCONUS, right? But to be able to tell your wife, hey, I'm just going to go hang out at the border for 30 days and get paid really well to embed with some green Border Patrol guys.
Oh, I mean,
everyone would do that.
I could give you a list of 30 dudes, that would be down to do that. Again, and a lot of them, they don't have to match the money you would get OCONUS or to do something that would be more, potentially more dangerous. Because stateside day rates are a little bit lower, which makes sense. They'd be willing to do it, especially for the cause, a good cause. The problem is just like, again, you have to have some money tied to it. And that's why when we're talking about a lot of these things that civilians can help, there are some people that can, they make enough money from certain other aspects or whatever they had their investments in, and they could go do that for free. And those people are saints and, love those people. But, and just like you started this, on your own with your own money, doing it yourself. And, this obviously was not about money. You don't do something for 4 years that you try to build. And that's as helpful as what you guys are doing. If you're just looking for money, like you could have made a lot more money doing a lot of other things. So, there's people that are willing to do that, and that's amazing. But to get to a level of participation that you would need for some of this stuff, you have to be able to open a checkbook and pay some people. But that's another thing people need to understand is like, we have the capabilities now for civilians to step up and do a lot of good work, but we get some money behind it. And, instead of maybe giving to some of these nonprofits that you don't know where the money's actually going and what it's doing, I don't know, maybe hone in on some of these nonprofits that are doing really, really good work and really meaningful work and start giving to them instead. So, I mean,
so there was a means to weaponize the you and I would call them bad NGOs, right? That facilitated this invasion. I will say facilitated because I watch it firsthand. But if we want to be semi PC here, we'll say that they assisted the migrants when they got into the country, right?
Right.
So there was a way that the left somehow weaponized that with billions of dollars. Southwest Keys was worth billions of dollars.
Three. I think they got under the Biden administration, they got a little over 3 billion. I did a whole article on this, but yeah, they got 3 billion. Catholic Charities got 1.5 billion or something over that time frame. I mean, people don't like massive amounts of money. Like, I still think one problem in America is that the word billion and trillion has been thrown around so much that people don't actually understand how much money that actually is. I mean, if you're a billionaire, like you've got 999 999 million, 999 million plus one, you know, on top of that. Like it's just it's an insane amount of money. Insane amount of money.
I mean, even smaller numbers, right? So I think Petco Park, the Padres Stadium, I think it holds like 40,000. Well, that many people were coming in 3 or 4 days just in San Diego County alone. That's insane. Insanity. And they all went somewhere, and they're all, you know. Okay, back to weaponizing the NGOs. So if the left were able to do that, then why is the right not able to weaponize NGOs? Or let's just pull the money from the contracts on the left, which I know they did with Southwest Keys. Now, the Trump administration, I'm getting off topic of it. Trump administration did drop the lawsuit, which drives me insane because I don't know why. But because there was some, did you read when you wrote your thing about it, did you read all of the DOJ's complaint against Southwest Keys? It was horrible. Yes. So why was the lawsuit? Yeah. Anyway, if the left was able to do that, why can't the right do it with private? There are some private intel companies, but private intel companies or NGOs or private contractors to stop the bleed.
Yep.
I don't understand.
It comes down to the left doesn't mind weaponizing government against the populace, and generally people on the right don't want to do that, and they actually do want to be good stewards of the money, you know, and so on and so forth. Whereas the left doesn't care about that. The left has goals and things they're trying to accomplish, and how they get to there, they don't care. They don't care about, you know, who it hurts, what it does. Like, they don't care about any of that stuff. Like the Democrat leadership that knows what happened under Biden, they know they're all in there. There's plenty of them that are in intel briefings. There are plenty of them that know the real story. And that's what really frustrates me a lot with like a lot of these people, especially like whether it be former, you know, MTG, some of these people saying the stuff that they're saying today. Massey, right, would be another example. And then just your people on the left, you know, the Democrats that are doing this too. They're straight up lying. They know the realities and the dangers that we're facing every single day, and they lie about them because they have another agenda that they're trying to accomplish. And they don't care. They don't care that it's going to cost American lives. They don't care that it's going to hurt America in the long run. They don't care about any of that stuff. And that's what's
we went to a town hall meeting, and it turned out to just be a lunch. It was much smaller than I anticipated, with Sarah Jacobs, Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs. And this was in the height of everything. My business partner went with me to the gun store. He's a Navy diver, and that's not someone that you bring with you to meet the Democratic Congresswoman when the country's being invaded. Right. I've never published that video, and I never will, but I did take a video of that, and it's pretty hilarious. But she sat at the other end of the table. There's like 12 people in there, and I brought up things about the border that were going on, and she said, I can't remember which committee she was on. It was I don't think it was Homeland, but it was some type of intelligence committee or something. And she said that that's not true. Those are not the briefs that I'm getting in Washington. You could drive out there. We could go right now.
Right.
So to some extent, I don't really know if these people truly know. And I've had that thought the whole time. If Washington really knew what we were seeing, would they be doing something different? And every time we take someone to the border, they say, "Oh, we had." I mean, even you during this conversation, right? You said I had no idea it was still like this. So people, I don't know what else I have to do because I've been screaming for 4 years now on the internet, and I only have so much time to do that. But it's crazy that people. Now you know way more than most people, but when the congresswoman's sitting in front of me telling me that the border's good, as 10,000 people are coming through a day.
I think she knows. Like, she knew. They have to. there's no way that they don't know. Like, there's no way that someone on the Armed Services Committee, or all these other different committees that get these briefings about Iran and get these briefings about what's happening in Lebanon and what's happening in Syria, what's happening in the Middle East as a whole. There's no way that they don't know that that's all Iranian proxies that are pushing the battlefield forward at all times. And it frustrates, unless they just willfully are not listening.
Well, she's the heir.
Briefings.
She's the heir to the Qualcomm throne.
Oh, well, there you go.
The Qualcomm family. So she doesn't live in my neighborhood.
You're right.
I mean, I don't live in her neighborhood,
I guess. Some of these people, again, like maybe some of the Democrats on the left, that they only let the information in that they want to hear. Maybe that's the way they operate. But your MTGs and your Massies that have flipped 100% on views that they had just a few years ago, those people know for sure. Like, there's no hiding the fact that you flip-flopped 100% on your viewpoints in the last year, and that you like, I don't actually know what the reality is. Like, no, you absolutely know. They know. And so I do agree. I do agree with you on that. There's some of them that do not know. I mean, did you watch the old documentary, Bigger, Faster, Stronger, where the guy was trying to prove that, like, steroids actually aren't that bad as long as they're used appropriately, back during the time when steroids were like they were the big thing that everyone was worried about. And he went and talked to some senators and representatives, and I still remember one of the guys. I don't remember the exact tone of the conversation or exactly what they were talking about, but it was a very common sense question that the documentary guy asked the senator, and he like looks to his aide and he's like, is that true? And it's like something that everyone should have known, right? And he was like, is that true? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, oh, like, no clue.
So I think a lot of them are very just out of touch. And anytime anyone more than local, like state or federal leadership wants to come out, I won't do it if they will do it the proper way, meaning if they will give, I shouldn't say this now that I'm trying to be friends with CBP, if they will give CBP heads up, I won't do it, because they will lay out the red carpet. It doesn't matter if it's Democrats or Republicans. They still don't want to. I mean, even when I was in the Army, right, if we knew someone was coming to the hangar that had a bird or higher, all we did was clean. If we knew it was 6 months away, we cleaned for 6 months. If we knew it's tomorrow, we just clean until tomorrow. Like, how clean can the damn hangar be? And that's what they do at the border, unfortunately. And that doesn't help anything. And I'm not, obviously I wanted Trump to win. That's stupid that I even have to say that. But there's a lot of things that we can do along the border that still haven't been done. What I'm worried about, what I'm extremely worried about, is that we haven't done anything with Congress to make sure what happened during Biden doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Like legislate, which again we can't. And it's another
executive order won't solve this.
No, yeah, an EO can be undone by the next president, so it has to be legislated by Congress, and Congress has been ineffective for how many decades now? I mean, what actually gets passed that needs to get passed? Yeah. They can't even pass the SAVE Act. They can't even pass what 80% of Americans, including Democrats, right? So that's a large portion of the Democrats as well, all agree on that we need all the safety factors of the SAVE Act, and they still can't get it passed. They won't even bring it to the floor, right? Like, what's going on right now?
The census stuff that needs to be fixed. So yeah, who am I supposed to scream this stuff to when our representatives won't do it?
Yep.
Doesn't mean I'm actually, when I was in Washington, with my Pelican case, my dirty Pelican that had a bunch of documents and cell phone stuff in it. The Capitol Police really did not like that. They liked it less than the intel people. But once we got in, we went to a meeting. I forgot who. It might have been Eli Crane's office. Nobody was there. It was a Monday. They didn't get in until Wednesday. But we went in and talked to all these. We went to that meeting, and then they said, "Okay, have a good day." And I'm like, I looked at my buddy and said, hey, let's just go knock on all the doors while we're here. They didn't walk us back to the front, so we're in. And we walked around for the next like 3 hours and just after the second or third one, we're like, well, why are we knocking? The doors are open. Let's just go in with our Pelican and I think they'll talk to us. Who knows what they think we have in this thing. And we talked to so many different people, and their faces were like, where is this stuff from? How come we've never seen this before? And I'm like, I don't know. I testified. What else did I need to do? I thought that was like the pinnacle of me explaining here.
Dude, they're not paying attention to any of that stuff. That's what's also crazy. It's like a senator or House representative that's not on that specific committee. They don't give a shit what's happening in that committee. That's not their committee. It's not their problem. You know, like, and from a certain standpoint, I get it. Like, you have your lane, you're working your lane. You're not going to like be all up in everybody else's lane. But at the same time, like, the border's pretty important, guys. I mean, maybe one of the most important things that we need to shore up. But
I truly think we've been too proud to think that it could ever be penetrated, and it was, and everyone just watched. Everyone just stood and watched and went, wow, that's bad. Well, look at all those people. And then went to work the next day. What another thing people, and I don't want to give the wrong numbers here, but I think the migrant birth rate is like 1.7 or 1.8, and we are like 1.1 or 1.2. If this happens again, our grandchildren will not have a country. It will be the third world.
You're right. Yep. I mean, we will be outnumbered. You no longer have Native Americans that are the majority. Now you have, I mean, it doesn't take that much.
Then it doesn't be stolen land.
Right. But people don't even realize that a revolution, like a revolution, full-blown revolution, even in a country our size, only takes about 3% of the population to be active to make that happen. Whereas, you know, how many illegal immigrants have come in that do not care about America and definitely don't have a vested interest in keeping America under the U.S. Constitution, right? Probably more than 3%, I would say, of the population now. So we're at this kind of crossroads here where it's getting pretty, like, it could get dicey real fast. And I've talked about this before too, like a major city.
It's literally
a major city. Yeah. Like a major city that loses power and water, just power and water, for more than 3 days is at 3 days is on the threshold of a complete overhaul of their entire, like, where no one can respond to anything and chaos would reign, to the point where it might take the military to bring back order, if it can even be brought back, especially depending on the size of the city. So like Dallas, Texas, you lose power and water for 3 days in its entirety. You have, you know, widespread looting, panic within that the days after that, and it all falls apart from there. So our position is precarious. I'll just put it that way.
I want to show you something, and then kind of feel like I'm being a dead horse after this, but this goes right along with what you said. I don't know if I'll be able, if I can share the screen and then move the screen at the same time?
Let's
try it.
I don't know, let's try it.
Present,
we'll learn together.
Share screen. Window.
You probably have to remove one of these.
Can you see that? Is the map on there?
I gotta remove this video. There we go.
Okay. See this right here?
Mm-hmm.
Power facility. And if I zoom in right here, this is the end of the wall. So we had hundreds of thousands of people walk right through here and walk right around this wall. And this is where most of the Chinese came through the San Diego sector. Those people, no, that would have been funny. Look like people. Um, and they walked right past this power facility. This goes and feeds into San Diego, one of the biggest military bases in the world. This would be a massive, if this got shut down. So actually, SDG&E at one point went out here and said, hey, can you guys stop giving them Mylar blankets? Because if the wind blows and that blows into our facility over here, it will blow it up.
It's insane.
So if this goes down, especially in the summertime, the whole grid will go down in San Diego.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that's your feel-good thought to wrap everything up, man. I don't know, man. That's insane. Yeah, because you're
This whole area. There's no fence in right here.
Yep.
Let me just show you this. Well, I got the map open.
Mm-hmm.
See all those trails?
Yeah. They're not game trails.
No, we don't have that much game out here. Look at all that. Crazy. You know, if it was in Colorado, it might be elk or something, but we don't have those here.
Yep. Dang.
Yeah. All right. How do I go back? Let's see. Oh, there's the website. Can you see that?
Oh, put that back up. There you go. Yep. I shared the donate link on YouTube and on X. So anybody watching, you can find that there, or you can just go to the goatinitiative.org, and it's that big button up at the top there. It says donate, and you help out. Get Cory and the Goat Initiative some much needed cheddar to continue doing the great work that they are doing. I think
the monthly stuff is truly a blessing, because it's just the monthly bills are, we can take care of things. So we need some more XYZ. We can, not that we should have to, but we can take care of that. But knowing that like a whole Starlink is covered or something, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Am I still screen sharing?
Yeah, you are.
How do I turn that off?
Top, you should see at the top of that window. You can stop sharing. I can move that.
Oh, there you go. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, let me see if we got any other. We got Milo. You helped out a lot with this stream, man. Thank you so much for your additions as well.
Thanks, Milo.
It's great to have you. Let me see what this one says. Forrest. What about the IED at the base of the dam in Alabama? Do you have any positive thoughts?
All my thoughts are positive.
Zero positive thoughts about that. That's a really big problem. This is from Kevin about Pacific Command being one of the things that would be affected by the power station you showed, that's kind of a big deal, right?
Nah, we're good. Don't worry about it. We're good.
Yeah. Pacific Command is not important. No big deal. It's not a big theater at all.
The one big takeaway from this, and I need to portray this better to my contacts at the federal government now, is that I know I've hit it a few times, but there are a ton of really good people who are just not in the game, all the way in the game anymore. Maybe they just have a toe in, that could, with just a little bit of money or a little bit of assistance, would be a massive benefit to the country. And there's a lot of people that saw a huge gap during the Biden administration in whatever the border, or maybe they saw a lot of fraud stuff and they documented it, and they don't have any way to get that to the right people. And I don't want that to happen. That happened to me, and it happened to the guys, and I don't want that to happen to anybody else. We want to know if you have something, we want you to feel comfortable getting it to the right place.
Yeah. And then now you're more tied in as well to help with that. So yeah, Cory, again, you're doing amazing work. You're doing work that should get appreciated by a whole lot more people, and hopefully, hopefully the people watching this and again, so what I'll get clips that'll come out for the next, week or two about going over things that we went over in the stream and link this. And for everybody watching, please go to the goatinitiative.org and think about donating if you can, even if it's a little bit monthly. I mean, it's probably less than you're going to spend on Starbucks that month. Let's be real about it. So to help out, and because this is one of those things that could, make or break the country. And I truly believe that. I think the border is one of our biggest, most glaring weaknesses that we have just ignored and acted like wasn't a problem. And it's a very big problem. So hopefully the show tonight kind of showed you and opened your eyes. I mean, it did mine. Look, again, I'm not a person, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm decently in the know of a lot of things, I feel like. And it's fun for me to stay in the know, because this is what I do. But I mean, there's still a lot of stuff tonight that I had no idea was going on. So that's eye-opening, and this is definitely a bigger issue than I thought. And Cory, you have my number, obviously, and I'll keep in touch with you, privately. And if you need guys, we have a pretty decent network we can tap into of guys that would love to join in and get going with some of this stuff. So we'll keep talking about that for sure.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. Everybody, please, if you're not following the Goat Initiative on all the socials and on X, and his handle on X is the Cory Goat, and get following him, please. And let's just see what we can do. Make the Goat Initiative get out there a little bit more and get some airtime and more people aware of what's going on. And let's shore up our issues at the border.
Let's do it. We're not going to stop.
No, good. Again, man, appreciate you coming on, and bottom of my heart, appreciate all the work you're doing. Again, it's the work that most people don't even think of, and it's the work that actually is really going to matter. So I hope people realize that. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. All right, everybody, y'all have a great night. Thank y'all for hanging out with us for 3 hours. We went 3 hours. Whew. We went 3 hours, man. Thank y'all for spending the Saturday night with us, and hopefully you learned something, and hopefully you can tell your friends and reach out, and let's get some help to this great initiative and go from there. Everybody else have a great night. Thank y'all.
Thank you. See you.
See you, man.